I'm getting myself situated here.
Yeah, okay.
I'm already sitch. What's your excuse? I have so many printed off notes, guys.
I love that for you.
This was a task. This was
work.
Task. Yeah, look, I got the regular episode notes.
Nice.
And then I have my own typed out Martin Scorsese rankings and the movies and then performances that stand out to me.
Ed, I don't want to see any of that shit. I want to see your brand new iPhone.
What, this shitty thing?
Ooh. Show us the back. Show us the back.
It's black, but it's like it's just like vinyl. They only had black or blue, and I didn't know how blue it was going to be. Okay. And I wasn't about to be like, "Hey, man, show me what the blue looks like."
Okay, stop talking for a second so I can speak. All right. So first off, wow, no case on the phone, you bitch. What is going on?
This is why I was mad about getting it in the first place, because it just hit me at a time when I was not financially
right. That's
capable.
Good. I'm glad.
I just didn't need to be paying the sales tax of a phone.
Just gonna mark that clip.
I had to get a brick for my wall because it's a different kind of cable, and then I just told myself, I'll get a case once I get paid again, which I have done. I just need to pick out the perfect case. But the whole reason was because I couldn't get it to my other phone kind of stopped charging, and I tried 4 different chargers on it. And then when I got to the AT&T store, I found out if I wrapped the cord around the phone, it started charging. And if I had figured that out before I walked in, I would have kept it for another week and then taken care of it and gotten the whole caboodle, the case and everything. But alas,
you guys subscribe to our Patreon so that we can get Ed a phone case.
I did have a little freak out with me and Miguel when I heard you got a 14 and out of 15. My boy already behind in technology when he gets a new phone. Do you know what I'm saying?
The brand new, well, yeah. There
outdated
multiple
tech.
Reasons. Again, I was a little poor at the moment.
It's understandable now.
In the moment, but it was because I couldn't trade in my 6S. It was
no, you couldn't. Why did you ever think you could trade in that phone?
He was.
You couldn't get
Did you ask? Did you ask?
I did. No, I was what would be the difference between getting the 14 monetarily? I mean, what would the difference be between 14 and a 15? On a monthly basis.
Yes.
This was $11 a month.
Yeah.
Which isn't. Yeah. That's agreeable.
$11 a month. Then, that's pretty great.
The 15 was going to be 30 something.
Yeah, because it's the new phone. I mean, and that's something I was kind of telling you was that if you didn't want the brand new phone, you could at least get the 14 on a pretty decent price.
And see, I was going on that what Miguel had told me previously.
Oh, it was my fault. It was my fault.
I know. And who's the Apple person here? We're moving into a USB-C world. USB-C iPads, MacBooks, everything's powered by USB-C. You're going to be out of the loop soon. You're going to be carrying all kinds of cables. We're already here in the USB-C world. Mr. Ed is over here in lightning cable world. So I'm sorry. I'm a little excited. I'm a little bit lit up about this topic.
But you're in wireless charging world. But again, Luis, that was the only thing that you could say about the phone was the USB-C. What else is good about it? Everything else is about the same. But the USB-C.
You can plug it into anything. I have one plug.
Oh, well, now, yeah. I mean, yes.
Now. You can plug your phone. It's a USB-C world, baby.
$11 versus $30. I understand. Okay, once this podcast hits big, we're going to get you a new phone every year, baby. Okay,
every fucking year, 15, 16, 17.
Why
18,
didn't you go
18?
Can I ask? I have several questions. You went with the 14 and not the 14 Pro. Why?
Well, that's understandable.
The Pro was $13 a month.
Guys, so many explanations. It was my lunch break. I was super flustered because I had this is my dumbass. I had all my Killers of the Flower Moon like tickets saved on my phone and my wallet, and I was like, what the fuck am I gonna do? So the first thing I did was I printed off my tickets, and then I went to the AT&T store on my lunch break. And that shit took long enough as it was.
I don't know.
But that guy, so when I went in, they were just like, yeah, you need an upgrade. And the guy really was just pushing the 14. He was
because they want to get rid of that. He was. Stock.
Yeah, I'm sure. And I was just like, what's the cheapest thing? What's the least amount I could pay today? And he was just like, well, just go with the 14. It will be cheaper monthly. And I did inquire about the 15. I did take it under consideration. Like him and I like shared a look, and he was just like, the 14 is great. And I was like, great.
Except it doesn't have a USB-C, so go fuck
it doesn't have my fucking, up my ass. USB-C up my asshole. But you know what? This was a step. And
you know what? $11 a month ain't that bad. Okay, it's not that bad.
I'm figuring out the navigation. I've been working without a home button for over a year.
They got rid of that button.
Yeah, it's weird. The one thing that really bothers me is when you every morning when I try but when you have a bunch of opened apps. On my 6S, you could just kind of like swipe up or double tap on the home button.
Oh my god!
And they would pop up. But now you have to hold.
No, you don't.
For
what do you mean hold?
An inconsistent amount of time. It's just like, is it going to come up? Okay, you're used to it now.
Very clearly that you can like whoop.
Oh, I almost showed you guys my notes.
Look, and Ed, you can do 3 at a time. Look, bye-bye.
That's hot.
Bye-bye.
Well, I don't have any apps.
This is going to have to go at the end of the podcast because people are tuning in to say, give me that sweet Scorsese review, those top 10s. And we're hitting them like, what kind of podcast is this talking about Apple News? I'm putting this at the end.
Well, we all know that our listener base has been dying for this moment where I would upgrade to a new phone. Let's be real.
That's true. That's true.
I had people at your wedding asking me, hey, when are you going to upgrade? When are you going to upgrade?
Welcome back to Punch Drunk Nerd, the podcast where 3 friends, 3 amigos, 3 bambinos come together to talk about nerd shit. And guess what? This is the week we've been leading up to it. And finally, you can sit down, have a cup of tea, have a Coca-Cola, and listen to us talk about Martin Scorsese. First, we're going to do the news, though. We're going to get back into the swing of things. It's going to be real quick. I'm going to give you an update on some new movie stuff. Then we're going to do a feature discussion on Killers of the Flower Moon. And then we're going to wrap it up with our ranking. We're going to do our top 10 Martin Scorsese films. We'll go back and forth. But before all that, let's hit the news. I promise you guys we're going to get back into the rhythm of things. So very quick, I want to talk about delayed movies. The SAG strike is around. The SAG strikes are still here. Pushing movies aside, I just wanted to give a quick rundown of movies that have been pushed. Mission Impossible has been pushed from June 2024 to May 2025. That's 1 year, baby. Other movies that have been delayed, we're talking Dune from November to March. Godzilla, Kong. Didn't want that, but here it's coming. March 2024 to April 2024, 1 movie. Ed, did you know about this? Lord of the Rings, The War of Rohirrim?
Rohirrim.
The Rohirrim. Excuse me. The War of Rohirrim, an animated film, has been moved from April 12th to December 13th. What were you going to say, Miguel?
That's a tongue twister, man.
Lord
of the Rings, The War of the War. What was it?
The Wawa-Weewa.
Wawa-Weewas.
The War of the Rohirrim.
The War of the Rohirrim. The War of the Rohirrim. Speaking of war,
where's the apostrophe? No, I'm just joking. Sorry.
Okay, Marvel. Let's talk about Marvel real quick. Pretty much everything just rippled back. Deadpool was actually supposed to come out in November, which is crazy talk. I feel like that was super fast.
This November?
Yeah, that's fucking crazy, isn't it? I didn't even realize it until I looked it up. But now it's getting pushed to May.
That movie's going to be.
It's now it's pushed back to May 3rd.
No comment.
So it's taking the May 3rd spot, pushing Captain America, Brave New World out of May 3rd into July 26th, which is then pushing Thunderbolts from July 26th to December 20th. And Blade, oh Blade, man, that thing has been moving from this November, it was supposed to come out, to then September 6th next year. Now February, on Valentine's Day 2025. So if you need a date idea for Valentine's, go check out Blade in 2025. Fantastic Four has been moved for 1 year from 2024 to 2025, and all the Avenger movies have been moved a year. Crazy. Let's talk about Avatar. It's been pushed to 2025 and the other sequels from 2029 and 2031. Let's hope by then that this is a successful podcast where we can be in person. That's one of my dreams. I go to sleep thinking, man, I hope one day we can just do this podcast in person. So there's no delays anymore.
Not even in person. They'll fucking put us in Avatar 5. Yeah. Okay? As the Na'vi podcasters, okay?
Oh, I love that.
Dude.
We'll just get our
next filter will just be
yeah.
We'll be Na'vi.
Ah, yes, the pod people, the pod tribe.
I see you. And listen, that's all the news I want to give. Let's get into this discussion. Now that you've been all newsed up, we're going to get into feature discussion of Killers of the Flower Moon. Ed, take it away, baby.
Yes. I'm Miguel Sanchez.
Oh,
I'm Ed Bull.
And I'm Luis Gonzalez. Boom! What a cold open.
We're still figuring it out.
Did you know that the whole time? Were you just letting me continuing on to the whole?
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna keep going. It's fine.
I didn't even pick up on it. So
that's true.
Yeah,
well, you don't. Never
mind. Yes, the highly anticipated new Martin Scorsese movie is here at last. Killers of the Flower Moon is out in theaters now. So yeah, this one is starring Leo DiCaprio and Robert De Niro in their first team up since the 90s. You got Lily Gladstone, Jesse Plemons, and Brendan Fraser, amongst others. In the 1920s, members of the Osage Native American tribe of Osage County, Oklahoma, are murdered after oil is found on their land, and the FBI decides to investigate. That's like a kind of cut and dry description of this 3.5 hour epic. But, it finally happened. We got to see it. Miguel maybe went to see Taylor Swift instead. We'll find out. But
I wanted to, but I said, I gotta be good.
She was there in, spirit because you could hear it through the walls.
Through the walls. Oh my God. I know.
But yeah, okay, so it's here. And before we dive into our ranking discussion, let's talk about this movie.
Yeah. Let's talk about the audience. What was your audience like for this movie?
Thin.
Thin, okay.
Not a lot of people. Yeah, not a lot of people, but we had a good
fat people.
No, yeah, no. There wasn't. It wasn't a packed crowd, but it was also a good crowd. We had some laughs, we have some guffaws, and we had very few people, I think, taking pee breaks. I feel like everybody was kind of invested in the movie.
They were ready for it.
They were ready.
Well, you went on a Tuesday night too, right?
I went yes.
So that's tough for a 3.5 hour film.
That's true. That's true. People have work the next day.
Exactly. I went on a Friday night and it was a full theater. And yeah, I think everybody was engaged. Sadly, I had a woman next to me who just wanted to be on her phone, but I think she was like looking up things about the movie because she kept leaning over to her husband and saying like Robert De Niro or Leo DiCaprio or something shit. So that was a little annoying.
She was like, "That's who I thought that was."
Yeah, exactly.
Yo, this isn't your house. You can't just pull up your phone in the middle of the theater and start
people
wiki searching.
Theater etiquette still exists.
Abysmal.
Don't be shitty. Like, it is such a distraction to have just like, even if you've got it way down, the brightness down low, it's there, right? It's in your peripheral.
Yeah,
you see it.
I definitely. And this is not in any way related to me being on my phone. I had a guy 2 seats down from me sighing a lot, like when I was texting during the trailers, and I was like, it's fine, man. It's just a trailer. It's like, you don't have to sigh so heavy.
Movie,
I wasn't sure if he was just breathing or just sighing, so I ended up putting my phone away right as the movie started, so I could signal to him, "This isn't about you or me. Okay, this is about we." Okay, let's watch this movie.
Good.
No, my crowd was. I saw it on a Saturday morning, at around 11 in the morning. I ended up changing theaters formats quite a lot, trying to find like the right seat and the right time. But I landed on just the regular digital showing at 11, and it was a pretty full crowd. A couple of open seats, on every row, but mostly full. And it was mostly old white people. And I was very surprised. I walked in and I said, "Oh, okay, lots of white tops." You know what I mean?
I had a mixed crowd. It was like actually mostly like people my age and younger, even youths. Like a couple of oldies. Like you could tell some people were there with their parents. I
tell you, this was almost the exact same crowd as Oppenheimer for me. So I don't know if that's like in the Colorado area.
Like Colorado,
yeah. I don't know, but that's what was going on. And yeah, lots of. I walked in and the Aquaman 2 trailer was playing and it was dead silent.
Yeah,
dead silent.
I feel like they played all those superhero trailers in the front instead of usually near the end.
Yeah, they did.
Do you know what I mean? Like, let's just get this over with.
Yeah.
It's a bad lineup of trailers before that movie. It was
weren't good.
Yeah, like maybe the best one was the Napoleon one, but
oh yeah,
that got a good reaction from the crowd. Yeah, that was.
Oh, really?
I remember him from high school.
Yeah.
Napoleon.
I remember him from
because they're old people. I was making a joke. Shout out.
All right, so let's get into it. Stop it. Let's get into general thoughts. I want to hear from Luis first, since it's fresh on your mind.
Me?
Yeah, I'm mixing it up. You make me host. Fuck you.
I know, that's true. I loved this movie. Okay, I loved this movie.
Okay,
but as we were watching this movie and seeing these two, lovebirds come together, and then midway through, or I don't know when it happened, you start to realize who the killers are. Because I had no idea. I didn't see the trailers. Okay, and then when I found out that they were the killers, I started getting angry, started getting upset. I didn't expect to go first here, so I was going to bounce off of your guys' opinions here.
Miguel, what did you think?
I loved it. Love feels like a strong word. I did have some qualms, but ultimately it was a great experience. I first off, no one expected this of me. I sat through all 3.5 hours of that movie. I didn't get up not once. Okay. Thank you, Ed.
I'm doing my own fireworks.
Yeah. I could tell. I felt the vibe. No, it was really good. I thought the acting was really great. I think specifically Lily Gladstone and Robert De Niro were phenomenal. I did have a couple of like nitpicky things, and then like talking about it with my wife afterwards. We kind of bounced ideas off each other, and it kind of made me see the full picture of what I liked and didn't like. We can get to it in a minute, but ultimately it was a good time. I agree with Luis. There were a few like laughs and a few like moments that made me go like, "Oh my god!" Like,
yeah,
because it's just
I was shocked.
Yeah, like shocking. Just how cavalier some of these white folks were.
Well, Ed, let's ask you. What was your first thought?
I found it really gripping. I loved it. But for me, at least, it felt like it moved at a steady pace. Like,
yes.
There was very little in the grand scheme of things that I thought like they could have removed that. They could have removed that. Like, sure, they could have, maybe some scenes could have been cut shorter a little bit here and there, but nitpicky things that I think as a whole wouldn't have impacted the movie too much. But I thought like all the acting was great. Like you guys already said, Lily Gladstone, who we'll talk more about later. I thought this was definitely one of Leo's best performances. Like, I really like it when he shows up for a villain, And Robert De Niro, like, this is the best role I've seen him in since, I don't know.
The Irishman.
Like, no, I'd go as far as to say, like, Casino or something like that. Like, he... More so than some things about his performance in The Irishman bothered me, but
I was joking, Ed.
Oh well, yeah, no. But overall, really good. Like, it was one of those movies that just kind of sat with me. But I didn't get a lot of sleep that night because I was up all night just kind of thinking about it and just letting it sink in. Like you were saying, Luis, you kind of need to. There's so much content going
after
on
that,
within that
after
movie.
the credits were like right after the last scene and the credits are rolling and they're playing the Osage were playing their music, I was just kind of like sitting in the audience and just like taking that in, because I feel like that epilogue alone was pretty moving as well. After the questioning between Molly and what's it called, Ernest, when she's kind of like faces him like, okay, you've said the truth, you said everything, but let me ask you one more thing: did you poison me? And it's like we get to this point where, Ernest could have been a dumb idiot who could have like just fallen into the trappings of his uncle. He didn't know any better. He was just kind of following suit. But at this point, when she point blank asks him, listen, did you do this on purpose? And he was just like, no. It's like, okay, well then you clearly are making the decision right here to lie, and it's over. And then we hit to that epilogue where it's super commercialized. You know what I mean? Sponsored by Lucky Strike. And I was just like, oh my God, of course. Like we of course commercialize everything. Even this movie has been commercialized by Apple TV, all these things, like things you can't even
interesting escape. That's how you interpreted that.
And then it ends.
But like in the context of it, it was, that was the FBI trying to promote their importance.
But it's still sponsored by Lucky Strike. It's this idea that still people are going to commercialize things. And then there's a juxtaposition between the next scene when you don't have any. When she died, she didn't talk about the murders. You know what I mean? She just said, she died with her sisters, blah, 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 blah. And then you cut to the next scene of the tribe just kind of celebrating their society and their culture. And so there's just a difference between the two where it's like, let's make a play about this thing and let's sponsor by Lucky Strike. And then the other one is like a celebration and showing their indigenous, truth through expression. And I just felt like that was a better way to honor those people through, this kind of drum and dance than it is through this like song and dance. You know what I mean? And that's that's how it impacted me a little bit, of just like the contrast between the two. Because as you watch the movie, you are filled, like the first thing is the Osage people in kind of doing that peace offering with the pipe. Do you know what I mean? They're saying like, okay, now ends the age of this. Now we're going to all this white people. And as the movie progresses, you start seeing them being thinned out, and the rooms just started getting filled with more and more white people. And it's just like, wow, it's incredible how it gets diluted, this thing. And like the one time they finally find something, here come the hawks, here come the vultures, and just say, no, you can't have that. You can't have that yourself. We have to own it. And then it just completely gets weeded out until you get this like radio play. That's kind of how I interpreted that. Yeah,
because I was thinking about my audience at the time. Like I was like, oh, I bet they fucking love this ending. You know what I mean? I was like, yeah, Grammy, you remember this fucking radio play format? I was over here like nudging her shoulder, like, you remember this? You remember listening to this? Yeah, I
you
bet.
Old dog, you.
Get out of here, you old so and so.
Yeah, but it was very effective, like you say, Luis. Just that juxtaposition of the two, and then of course Martin Scorsese showing up to get the final words of
his final word made I got teared up.
Chills. Yeah,
I got my eyes watered just because it's like you have all this like explanation and story, and then in the end, he's had a lot of topics. I mean, from the beginning of his career, filmography, we'll talk about it, but he always brings death into the thing. Like you always find the ending of these characters, the death of these characters, and here it's like kind of the last thing, and he's just like, we did all these story, but in the end, her tombstone just didn't mention nothing about the murders. And the way he played that was just so honest and genuine and heartfelt. Like I was just kind of struck by that emotion.
I was also sitting there thinking, like, what if this is Martin Scorsese's last movie? You know what I mean? Like, what a way for him to come in and just be like, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't seen all of his movies, okay? But like Martin Scorsese isn't in a lot of his movies, right? Does he make appearances?
He's in a lot. Yeah.
Oh, fuck me. All right, I watched not the ones I watched.
Specifically, they are typically they're very small cameos. Like he's like a photographer in Hugo, and you just catch a glimpse of him, kind of thing. He's also a photographer in Age of Innocence. He has a speaking scene in Taxi Driver.
He's the director in Kings of Comedy. He's like backstage, like directing something.
And he's briefly,
it's all coming back to me now.
Briefly in Boxcar Bertha and shit like that. So yeah, he's always he's never shied away from that. But this was like this is me laying bare.
It's funny because I was waiting for like a cameo somehow. I was like, how is it? Is it going to happen? It's not going to happen. And then it did.
I don't think he did in The Irishman. I'm pretty sure.
Or in Silence,
it doesn't matter.
Show up like, hey, how's it going?
But to your point, Luis, that was one thing that really struck me about this movie is like, whilst Martin Scorsese, like, hands down one of the greatest directors ever, he's not a sentimental director, and he usually deals with grisly stories where you don't really feel sentimental towards the characters. But with this one, there were a couple of moments throughout the film where I did kind of tear up, which is kind of a new thing for me with a Martin Scorsese film. I'm a baby when it comes to film, so
I was like, don't tell lies.
But no, like with Martin Scorsese, I can't recall a time where I did like tear up. But this one, especially through Lily Gladstone's character, and then that scene where her mother dies.
Oof, what a beautiful scene when she sees the ancestors,
she gets walked away by her ancestors or whatever. There are multiple moments throughout this film where that happened, and so that struck me too. Like, this was, you felt just there was more. This was more personal, or more important to Martin Scorsese to get right in that sense. I feel like.
We jumped right to the end of this movie at the start of our discussion.
Christopher Nolan did.
Yeah, we said, now let's work back. Okay. Yeah. Can we? Ed, I know you're leading, so just steer me wrong if I'm going the wrong direction. I mean, stop it. Can we talk about Lily Gladstone just like straight away? Because how much I loved Lily Gladstone in this movie. I don't know if she's been in other things. I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen her in anything else. But I want to see her in everything. And I mean, I walked away from that experience going like, wow, the hype was real for her performance. Yeah. It was very good.
Absolutely. Everybody leading up to this has been saying like she's the soul of this film, and I think that's absolutely on the money. And like when she's not there, you kind of miss her.
Yeah, she was. There was a real big chunk, like kind of like at the end of Act 2, beginning of Act 3, where she was gone. I remember thinking like, hey, can we get back to the, you know what I mean? Let's get back to the meat and potatoes. You're really
invested with what was going to happen to her character, like whether you were aware of the history or not. You really just wanted her to prevail. You didn't care what happened to Leo DiCaprio at a certain point when you start realizing just like how involved he is with all the schemes and stuff. But like with her, you just wanted her to come out of this on top somehow. And overall, like, nobody's a winner in this movie, which is the most tragic thing. Is just like, it's just fucking awful what happens to everybody. Yeah, but she's fantastic. I loved her. Yeah.
I know this movie was 3.5 hours, but I could have given him 7 more minutes to give me 2 more scenes of Molly and what she was kind of going through. Do you know what I mean? To kind of, I just want that. And you know what? Who am I to tell the king of,
Martin
director what to do? And obviously, like at this point, I'm just kind of a student to his movie. I'm over here digesting. I can't really criticize or say whatever, but like for me personally, as an audience, I just wanted, like, maybe that was a desire. Maybe that's what he wanted from me. But I wanted a little bit of more Molly, and I wanted to see kind of her, like, because I know the core, her and Leo DiCaprio, their relationship was kind of the core of the movie. And in fact, that was like what rewrote the script in general. Like, Leo DiCaprio was supposed to play the FBI agent, and then he was like, what's the heart of this movie? And it's like, well, it's these two. She stayed with him throughout all the court, like the whole process up until the end. Why did they stay together throughout the whole thing? Let's dive deep into that. And so they really opened that up, and I just wanted to see a little bit more of kind of Molly's side. And after she kind of recovered, you know what I mean? Like, what was
because
her...
she knew what he was as a person. Like, he wanted money. He was another guy, a white guy who wanted money.
But he was cute.
But he was also dumb. and cute. Dumb and cute.
I love that they added that little like the girl scene where they were kind of talking about all their boys.
Oh, I was
like,
cracking up.
And he's like, yeah, well, you know what? Honestly, you're just kind of cute. And it's just like, yeah, I mean, there is a a realism and reality to kind of like a comment like that. It's like, yeah, I mean, we are humans still, you know.
I was reading this on Twitter, and so I'm paraphrasing it. I couldn't even credit the person who tweeted it, so my bad. Shout out the internet. But someone was saying that the line where he was like, she says something to him in her language, and he goes, "I don't know what you said, but it was probably something like handsome devil or something like that."
Yeah.
And she laughs. Apparently, that was improvised. He said that to her. And they were saying that Martin Scorsese was like, "Yes, this is the chemistry. Like you guys, this is when they clicked."
There was I feel so Martin Scorsese like I've learned throughout this month that he is like an improv king. Like all of his movies are littered with improv everywhere, and so it's just to see his reaction when he was flirting with Lily Gladstone. I was like, dude, he doesn't even have to act. This is just like Leo being Leo. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
it was kind of cute too. Yeah. Like. She gets him that Stetson hat.
Yeah,
and I was just like, "Oh, that's sweet."
And then she goes, "Do you want some dinner?" You know?
Yes,
yeah.
They're at that table, and he's like, just kind of like wooing her a little bit. Like I feel like those one-on-one scenes, a lot of that stuff's kind of improvised. Like just to get to the truth of it. And yeah.
It's
No,
like, I've got good whiskey for you. And it's like,
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think her performance is incredible. I feel like it's a lesson and study of how performances should be. Because right now, I feel like a lot of performances we get are very like they're signaling like, "Ooh, I'm sad," and they like overexpress. And there was just like, I don't know, a stillness to her that had a lot of depth.
Yeah. And I love that at the beginning of the movie when you first meet Robert De Niro is that's what he's telling Leo about the people as a whole. It's just like they're observant, watches, and you're kind of absorbing the film as it goes along, but you just like the way that it unfolds like that, exactly like that, is like anybody else would have just like overplayed it, gone way overboard or whatever, but it's just so like just strong and subdued. At the same time, and then which made moments where she finds out when her sister gets blown up that when she cries out, it's all the more palpable. It's just like so powerful.
That was the scene for me. I was like, Oscar, give it to her. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Well, hey,
actually, every scene she was in, I said, Oscar.
This has been ever since they announced it that Lily Gladstone, they are gonna. Campaign for her to be in the leading actress. Do you guys? At first, people were saying supporting, but what do you guys think about that? You think like leading, she has a chance?
I think
absolutely.
I am surprised because she does seem like a supporting role, just because they didn't put her enough in the movie to me. Right. But I don't know. I was kind of. I didn't know. I thought she would get supporting, to be honest, just the way that it cracks.
I think everybody had a peg for that, but then, they announced maybe a month ago that they're going to campaign for her to in the leading category.
I wonder what qualifies you to have a leading. Like, do you have to have a certain amount of scenes,
right? Like a certain number of lines or something.
Yeah.
No, well, that's the thing. Is I think it's all entirely on what the studio wants to campaign for. Because if you think about it, Anthony Hopkins won Best Actor for Hannibal Lecter. And he was notoriously in that movie for 13 minutes or something. Yeah. Like on screen. So that
is kind of wild. Okay,
I'll say this.
That's a good example, Ed. Okay, I agree.
I'll say this. That listen, whatever she goes for, Best Actress, Best Supporting Actress, whether she wins or doesn't win, this is like she deserves the recognition.
Oh yeah.
And if she's so I don't care if she wins or loses. I say go straight for Best Actress. You know what I mean? Like put her up there with the big leagues and say like she deserves that, and that is the caliber actor that we have in Lily Gladstone. And whether she wins or loses, that's what we're saying about her. You know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. You're right. It's when you put these relatively unknown actors or actresses. Like another example of this is Vicky Krieps in Phantom Thread going toe to toe with Daniel Day-Lewis. It's the same here with Lily Gladstone going toe to toe with Leo DiCaprio, Robert De Niro, some of the best actors of their generations, you know, and holding her own and being the one that most people are leaving this movie talking about, you know. So, yeah, I think
they would be very
like
successful to campaign her for sure, you know.
Yeah. And without a doubt, she's getting the nomination. But let's hope she gets the win. I mean, yeah, I won't get into like, oh, who else is she going to be up against? But no, she's totally deserves it. And I want to talk about, if we can press on a little
bit. Please,
I
like this.
Miguel, I feel like you hesitated whenever I said I felt like this was one of Leo's best performances.
Oh, well, I think he was really good in it. I did mention earlier I had some nitpicky thoughts.
Yeah, let's hear it.
And I kind of mentioned that my wife and I were talking about it afterwards, and she said something to me that just kind of clicked. She was saying that she thought Leonardo DiCaprio was miscast, and shouldn't have been in that role. And the more I thought about it, I was like, you're absolutely right. And we had to look it up. Like, he was playing like a 30-year-old or a 26-year-old or something. And it's like, he's like 40 something. And so there would be lines in the movie where other characters would call him like boy or son or this and that. Like Jesse Plemons at one point calls him son. And I was like, no fucking way. You're older than Leonardo DiCaprio, you know?
Right. Yeah.
So while I thought he played it beautifully, I do think like he was kind of like a glaring, issue every time he was on screen. I was like, I don't quite place you here in this role.
Interesting.
But I'm not going to sit here and say he wasn't acting the shit out of that role. And his back and forth with Robert De Niro, their dynamic was amazing.
Yeah. So if they de-aged him,
with Lily Gladstone.
And with Lily Gladstone. Yeah.
If they de-aged Leonardo DiCaprio, would that have been a little bit different?
I would have bought that because the CGI is flawless, as he's shown previously. So, that would have helped out.
I feel like, at least with Leo, it may have been like a slightly smoother transition. You know,
Maybe.
Like they could do it with Brad Pitt in The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. They could do it with Leo. He was a pretty guy. You know, he's still a pretty guy. He's a cute coyote. But
I tell you what, I wouldn't have necessarily put him at that age, but I would place him as that type of character. Like,
yes,
like a little dumb, a little dirty, you know what I mean? Like, especially in that first scene. You know? Yeah, his teeth were messed up, but also he was kind of just dirty, before he got the money, you know?
Yeah.
And, they were talking about he came home from war and his gut was all fucked up. He was like, it just ballooned. I could see him being this like gross, like weird stomach individual. That's 10 out of 10. Yeah. Well, I will say this. This is not my favorite Leonardo DiCaprio role. I could tell you right now what I think it is, and this one was not it.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, right?
Oh, 10 out of 10. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was the one he should have won the Oscar for. I would love to hear you guys' thoughts. I don't want to overtalk or blab, but Leonardo DiCaprio.
Quick question, and then we'll get back to it. Did Kristen like it?
Yeah. Sorry, I was taking a sip. Yeah. I felt this has kind of been a thing of ours recently. Because we don't have a babysitter yet. You know, she goes and sees the movie. I'll go see the movie. At different times, and then we'll link up afterwards and talk about it. So she went and saw it Friday night, and I went Saturday morning, and that was so tough because she came home and I could tell she wanted to talk about it, and I wanted to hear all about it, but I was just like, I was locked in. I wanted to see this movie. I didn't want anything spoiled as much as I could.
Yeah.
She had a good time, and it would have been good to see it with her. She went to the bathroom, so
that's all right.
Did she ask you like, "Hey, I went to the bathroom at this scene. What did I miss?" And you kind of explained to her?
It took us a second to kind of figure out what the moment was that she left, so I could kind of pinpoint what it was. And but basically, what we decided was it wasn't the moment. If I could say, just while we're talking about it, the guy next to me that was sighing that I was on my phone during the trailers, that asshole got up and went to go pee during the movie.
You should have cited him.
And it was, spoiler alert, it was the moment they fucking announced that he was poisoning Lily Gladstone. And he came back, and they had moved on from it. And I was like, dude, I mean...
Hey, like, this guy's pretty good. This is a good husband. Like, no,
he's a good man.
He's a good man.
What's that problem? You know?
Gee, women, right? You're like, I think you missed something there, fella. I know. I couldn't believe that was... It was just dumb luck. Like, he didn't know. I didn't know, you know?
It's hard, especially at a 3.5 hour movie. It's like so much
it was
information.
hard to choose when to go, though. I feel like I was pulled in every scene for me. Like I was just like, yes, let's go.
Something was always happening, you know, even on the smallest scale, something was happening.
I'd argue that any other scene other than that one would have been mostly fine.
Well, yes, absolutely. You're right.
You could have put it together. That one was like some pretty big context.
Yeah. Luis, did Sarah see it?
Yeah, she loved it too. I think she was also like she was like pissed during the scenes when like Leo was poisoning her and just like kind of trapping her and making her feel like I'm taking care of you, everything is okay. She just like she was like I wanted to throw popcorn at the screen, you know. I was so upset at the situation, and it's just like it was, you really felt it throughout the whole thing.
The party I went with our friends Mike Lindauer and his girlfriend Naomi, and she came out of the movie was just like, I just really disappointed in Leo. Like, just really bummed that he did all of that. It's just like, you know. Yeah.
Did you guys, based on that, did you guys expect Leonardo DiCaprio to be the good guy of this movie?
No.
What do you mean, going into the movie?
Yeah. Before you saw it.
Yes, I did. I saw the teaser, and it was like, you have to find the killers, you know, and she said it to Leo going into the movie, into that teaser. So in my mind, it's her and Leo together figuring out the crimes, who is killing everybody.
Oh, interesting.
And then
that reveal must have been hot, dude.
Oh, that's what I'm telling you, man. It was a shock. And then when I came home later today, I saw the other trailers, and I was like, oh my God, they totally like foreshadowed that they were the bad guys.
Dude, I can't tell you. I saw 2 or 3 movies that played the new trailer before it, and I was like, I didn't want to watch this. Like, they gave away too much.
It's beautifully set it up where it was like, you and me together are going to solve these crimes. You know what I mean? And I was like, okay, I'm ready for these 2 crime solvers to go and figure this out, you know? And then so when it happened, like that's what I'm saying, when he started stealing stuff, when he took off his hood, and you see that he stabbed. I mean, me and Sarah like both turned to each other. We're like, oh,
no way.
Oh yeah, like it was a moment.
That's kind of late in the movie that they revealed that one.
Yeah, I know, but there was like, but it was like a slow slope effect. Like it was like the heat just bubbling up from cold to hot, where you started seeing signs of like, well, that's peculiar. Oh, that's interesting. Or is that person getting drugged?
Like he's going along with his uncle too much, kind of thing.
Yeah, like there are just these. You feel a little confused. Like, wait a second, why? Why is he doing that now? And then you have this realization, like, wait a second. Oh no, this is not good. And then that kind of like locked the deal. It's like, okay, this is it. You know. So no, for me that was a great experience. And
that's awesome. That is cool. I mean, I'm trying to think of all those moments. Like even when that house explodes, you know, the build up to that.
He knew
that. I love that little dispute between him and the other husband too. It's just like
Bill Smith,
white husband. Yeah, is that
his name? Bill
the character or the actor?
The character.
Bill.
Oh, okay.
Right?
I was going to say, I don't recognize him.
It was Bill something. I'm pretty sure I'm not wrong. I'm pretty sure it's Bill Smith. But take us to the comments.
He was the one who they called an armadillo, and she was like, he might be an armadillo to you, but he's a rabbit to me, kind of thing.
Oh, talk about
possum, you're right.
Yeah.
Talk about a character that I was thinking was going to go one way, and then it fucking surprised the shit out of me. Was at the beginning, I was like, okay, like Leonardo DiCaprio, Lily Gladstone, they're going to be kind of anti Bill Smith, or sorry, not Lily Gladstone, Robert De Niro and Leonardo DiCaprio. They're going to be against Bill Smith, but it was Bill Smith that, and I hope that's his name. I'm fucking saying Bill it anyway.
Smith,
He was against them. You know what I mean? Like I loved that kind of, because they make it out to seem like he's just another white man coming in on the native territory, and she died, so he moved straight to the other sister. You think that's kind of a scumbag move?
Absolutely.
But in the end, it ended up being like he was kind of this quasi detective. Like, they're not going to solve this crime. Well, I'm going to figure out what's happening to these people, and that made me like him. And to take that all the way back to what Ed was saying, that scene between him and Ernest in their living room was
so telling on both sides.
That felt like an interrogation scene beyond, you know what I mean, the cop doing it, you know?
Yeah. But, and, you know, it's like you have mixed feelings because you still suspect him of having other motives, like
Bill Smith.
Like, if anything, just like the same motives that Leo has, but they're just like, who's gonna pull the trigger first kind of deal. Which obviously that's what it came down to. But yeah, I love that little competitive moment there. And just like all of these white husbands that were accumulating across town, you just like,
talk about like, remember when this gross feeling when that guy he meets Ernest when Ernest is like driving Lily Gladstone for the first time, and he's like, oh, this is my wife so and so, and she's fucking unblooded or whatever they said, like fucking full-blooded. That was so gross because she's standing right there. It's like his property. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's the point they were saying. They're like, oh, like comparing them to killing animals. It's like the same. So to them, that one scene where that guy's like, okay, so if I kill my wife and my children, does that mean I get to have all of their belongings? Like, well, you're confessing it to me, so I would think that you're going to do it. And it's like, well, if it's legal, then I won't. But if it's not, then
that's the thing I was talking about earlier. Is just like all of these white dudes were just so open, and I think this got like the biggest reaction out of the audience. Is just like how open they were about like, oh yeah, we're just gonna kill him, you know, if he doesn't do what we say or whatever. They're just you know, and like when Robert De Niro turns himself in, he's like, apparently I killed someone, so take me in. But just like, you fucking did.
There was also a really good line right after the explosion when like the next day or whatever, when Robert De Niro comes back from Fort Worth, and I believe it's the banker is there, and he leans over to, I forget Robert De Niro's character's name off the top of my head, but he leans over to him, King. Yeah, he's like, you know, he's like, you're really showing yourself here, Bill, or whatever. You know
tone it down,
like,
kind of situation.
He's like, you know, you gotta chill. You're making it too big. You gotta. We know what you're doing. You know what I mean? Right. But, you know, keep it a little under wraps. And just the fact that, you know, they were all on board, you know? That the banker was so casually in the Ku Klux Klan. He was like, what's up, y'all? Hey, it's me with my white hood.
God, man, that was bizarre.
But that's like the type of setting, like that type of like contrast or whatever is kind of Scorsese at his best, where he's like just showcasing these two contradicting things.
Oh, yeah, I love it when Scorsese does a history lesson, like, because he doesn't hold back. Like, America is America in his eyes, you know what I mean? It's like none of this sentimental bullshit, you know, where it's going to fade to the American flag at the end of the movie.
They even referenced the Tulsa massacre around the explosion as well, which I thought was like I wasn't expecting them to bring that up, but the way that they kind of mirrored those two events, I thought that was very telling.
Well, it was in the same state, right?
Oh, I guess it is.
Yeah,
I forgot about that. It is Oklahoma. Yeah. Oh, talk about giggles. Talk about giggles from the crowd. So I live in Colorado. Every time they mentioned Colorado Springs, hey, we should move to Colorado Springs, the crowd would be like, I was like, ooh, sorry, Colorado Springs, man. The Denver crowd, we didn't like that, okay? I thought
that was... No, they shouldn't have, no.
No, then they would be like, yeah, we should go to Denver. Yeah, fuck yeah, let's go, yeah. No, they didn't do that. But
that's hilarious.
Robert De Niro. Phenomenal character. Just truly evil. I saw a tweet the other day that said what was great about his character was that there was never a moment where he was like showcasing or playing to the evil. He was the exactly. He was the exact same in every scene. And it was all a mask. You know what I mean? Like he was just always putting on a front to get his own thing.
Convinced himself
that's the truth. You know,
that's the truth. He is the good guy, and his land was taken by the Osage, and yada yada. He's entitled to all of this that he's taking, kind of thing. Yeah, and he rocks a pair of motor car goggles.
Oh yeah.
Like that's one thing.
He at one point was like, you know what I mean? Get in the car. I was like, I take the fucking things off, bro. He had the audacity to be like, like, get in the car with these fucking goggles on. Get a windshield, my guy.
All right, so Killers of the Flower Moon. It's in theaters right now. Go see it in theaters. It's in
full.
In full. No bathroom breaks. No, it's epic. It's very gripping, and it's a story that everyone should at least get to know.
Oh. I'm sorry. I know we're wrapping it up. Can I ask just one more quick thing? And this is a more general discussion thing. I saw on Twitter today that some movie theater somewhere, again, I didn't do it in my English papers, and I'm not going to do it on the podcast. I will not cite my sources, okay? But I saw on Twitter somewhere that some movie theater had a sign out that said, we are doing an 8-minute intermission during Killers of the Flower Moon at roughly the hour 55-minute mark. We'll pause the movie, give you 8 minutes, and then we'll resume the movie.
8 minutes?
And this, and this was obviously not like sanctioned by Scorsese or anything. That was just something the theater itself decided to do. And they ended the little note with being like, "Love you" or whatever. And I was curious to hear your thoughts. Like, obviously, I'm kind of okay with the idea of an intermission. But I definitely want it to be like when Quentin Tarantino did Hateful Eight, he did an intermission. That was a purposeful thing.
Yes.
Like for a movie theater just to be like, and pause. What do you guys think about that?
If it's not like a choice from the director, then I have problems with it. I think
because I mean he's building the pace, the rhythm, everything is there.
Exactly.
And they go at roughly an hour 55 in, we pause it. It's like, did the guy today decide to pause it here and the guy tomorrow decides to pause it there? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or what if you do it? Yeah, exactly. And you could really build or ruin the momentum.
It's like a space bar clip. It's like, bloop, that's done.
Exactly. Bloop, bloop. What the fuck?
Yeah. I have issues with that. I'm all for intermissions, like you say, Miguel, especially for longer films like Babylon. Could have done with one, Avatar even. Bring fucking intermissions back. Like, you have that intermission overture playing, just like let people listen to the score if they don't need to go to the toilet or whatever, and then come back and enjoy the rest of the movie. But yeah, it should be a choice by the director or editor, for sure, 100%.
All right, good. This was good talk. Good talk.
Good.
Killers of the Flower Moon. Ed, thank you for leading that discussion, man.
Yeah, man.
My pleasure. I'm about to lead you into another one. You ready?
Fuck yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's go.
All right,
wait, we're no break? We're not taking a break? Oh, man.
You want to take a break?
Need an intermission?
I'm sorry, I do need an intermission. Just a real quick one, okay?
All right, let me play some music.
Okay, bye.
We're back to the podcast, everybody. He just finished intermission, and I got to bring something up real quick. Okay, when I was doing these movies, I was curious: is it Scorsese or Scorsese? So then I went on YouTube and I heard from the man himself how to pronounce his last name.
Pronounce your last name for me.
Scorsese.
Sessi. All right, and I said Sessi, and I wanted to make sure.
Sessi.
Yeah.
I say Scorsese.
Okay, we're going to the top 10 of Scorsese today. Ed, you led the feature discussion. I'm going to let you lead this top 10 as well.
Thank you, Luis. Thank you. So yeah, real quick, before we get into the nitty-gritty of this ranking, I just wanted to discuss Martin Scorsese and the wonderful, illustrious career that he has had. Everybody loves Martin Scorsese. You're hard pressed to find somebody who's just like, nah, not for me. Yeah, like over the course of 26 films now.
Yes.
Like I think there's something there for everyone. Over the course of 5 decades. Like he's made some incredible movies.
Can I ask as like an opening topic question?
Yes.
What was your first Scorsese movie?
Oh, I knew you were gonna ask that.
I could tell you mine if you guys.
What
need
was
time to
yours?
think.
Yeah. What was yours?
So my very first Martin Scorsese movie was The Departed. I saw it in theaters with my mom. Okay, I was maybe what year? Ed, what year?
Are we talking theatrical only?
What? No, I mean your first. That happened to be my first experience. Was in the theaters seeing Martin Scorsese. I wasn't allowed to see that had potty language. Okay, I wasn't allowed to watch a lot of those movies.
I cannot imagine what she thought
of The Departed.
Yeah,
she loved it, baby. Can you believe that?
No,
Ed grew up with me. He knows my mom. I mean, that was one of the my mom took me to see movies a lot as a kid, and that's something that I try to have with my boy. Going and seeing movies. Sorry, not to get sentimental. But that was one of those experiences that I walked away from the theater. I was like, I liked that movie. She was like, I loved that movie. I was like, okay, that was pretty good. So that was. That was
that's very surprising.
For
also, shout out to Becky Sanchez. Happy birthday for tomorrow.
The way I panicked just now, Ed. Oh my god!
Tomorrow.
Which will be yesterday when we release the episode.
Right, of course.
Oh my god!
To be fair, I only know because I work with the woman.
And also, I was telling a heartwarming story of like a fun memory I had with my mother. So
exactly,
I didn't say the words "Happy Birthday," but the thought was there. Okay,
the thought was there. You're thinking of her in this.
That's
moment.
Right.
That's
what was
crazy,
your first?
That's crazy that she enjoyed that. I have so many questions.
Because my mom is definitely one of those people that will tell you right away that was terrible. And she'll tell you all the reasons why.
Whoa.
But we walked away from it. We should. Oh God, wouldn't that be an episode? But
rewatch it and then we'll talk fresh.
That was one of those movies also that I feel like my mom was kind of taking me to a more adult movie. I guess that movie's rated R. But she was saying, I want to see this movie. I don't want to see a kid's movie. Just come see this movie. Yeah, and that was definitely one of those first experiences for me of a little more mature themes. But enough about me. What do you guys? I tried to stall as much as I could.
It
doesn't have to be in the theaters either.
Okay, so I think I caught glimpses of Casino when I was really young because my sister had it on VHS.
Shout out.
And yeah, shout out Ashley. She's my movie guru. She opened up my horizons. But I think the first full Scorsese film was Gangs of New York for me.
Ooh, that's a good one. Okay.
And I rented it, it wasn't in theaters or anything. And then my first theatrical Scorsese was The Aviator.
Okay. All right. I don't want to hear anything about your opinions. I just want to know what the first one was.
There you go. Luis, what about you?
I can't remember, but really,
he's like, last month on Plex, I watched. No.
I watched the first one.
Have you guys heard of Goodfellas?
It's pretty good.
Oh man!
No, from what I can remember, I think it was The Departed as well. I went to the Regal Cinema that you go to, the Edwards.
Nice.
I remember going upstairs and watching that movie and coming out it was pretty good. So
that was fucking great. But yeah, that was the first, and I mean, that was 2006, so that was on the cusp of turning 17 for me.
Yeah, I was going to say that was very much like a teenager age for all of us.
Yeah.
A couple years difference here and there, but that
Not
would be in
that was mid-20s, right?
No, come on.
All right, you're canceled. You're canceled.
You're done.
Yeah, no. That was it.
That seems like a pretty that's what I was saying though. For our time period, that seems like Departed would have been a good introduction.
Yeah.
Okay, Ed, please don't let me derail anymore. You're the host, baby.
All right. Well, we know we love Martin Scorsese. We don't need to talk about that. All right. Obviously, some of us have been working real hard to catch up on all his movies.
Thank you.
How many have we seen? I'm just curious.
Okay.
I've seen, officially, as of today, I have seen 22 of his films.
All right.
Luis?
I have seen 24
Please don't tell me all
of his films.
Oh, wow.
Well done. Hats off to you, sir. Well done. To be fair, I only just figured out Plex in the last week. Yeah, and I've tried to make it.
Well, I wanted to be prepared for my top 10, so I have seen 10 Martin Scorsese movies.
I knew it.
Wait, so they were all going to be 10? Okay, they all made it the top 10. They're all winners to you.
He never misses. You know what I mean?
I asked you, it's like, do you have your top 10, Miguel? You're like, I got them locked.
I got it locked and loaded, dude.
They're locked and loaded already from when I saw
I was like, this is the easiest list I've ever made.
You're watching your 9th movie? Oh, this one's going to be in the top 10. I already know it.
I had to really look at that list of movies today and be like, I have seen this movie, right? Because I just like off the top of my head, I had 6. And I was like, oh, fuck. Okay, we got to try a little bit harder.
I've seen other way. Like, you know, he has those like 2 precursor movies before Mean Streets. So I did Mean Streets and On.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, I was able to squeeze in Boxcar Bertha, which was one of his first. His second feature, I think.
That was after his first movie, and they were like, "Hey, you want to make this blockbuster movie that's like all you know, shebang?" And then he did it, and then some director was like, "Can you do a better movie that has more heart?" And then he made Mean Streets. Yeah. But I mean, he was hired to do it. He was like a hired director, like a hired gun, just to like fulfill someone else's like vision.
But it's interesting to see that perspective from him.
Absolutely.
It's not like because he's a very like choice director. Like he goes after what he's passionate about. So yeah, no, it's been a fun journey for sure. I guess the ones I haven't seen was Who's That Knocking at My Door, which was his first one. New York, New York. After Hours. And I started Kundun, and I wasn't able to finish it.
That's how you pronounce that?
Kundun.
Yeah.
Kundun?
It means Dalai Lama, right?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Now my joke in the text thread didn't... I thought it was Kundun. You know what I mean? Like
I know what you were doing. It made sense in my. I knew what you were.
That's how I read it. That's how I read it. Okay. Yeah.
The Netflix sound, right?
Yes.
That's like.
Yeah. I've been watching a lot of Netflix recently, Ed. You got to get back on this train, okay?
I did it.
Baby, that's a separate conversation. I don't want to.
We'll talk about it next week.
All right. Fair enough.
All right. So. Some things I wanted to talk about. I mentioned this to Luis, and we'll speculate throughout the conversation, of course, as we talk about.
Me?
With me?
Well, both of us, all of us.
No,
all three
me,
of us.
Ed.
No, Ed was like, this is something I talked about with Luis. I was like, okay, well,
because you fucked off to go do whatever.
Probably playing Spider-Man.
In that brief moment that you stepped away from the camera, you were playing Spider-Man?
Oh, yeah, 100%. That's what I was.
No, the moment I knew that Spider-Man was coming out, I knew we had lost Miguel.
I wasn't going to watch all 25 of these goddamn movies, okay? I'm sorry. I've got other things going on, okay?
No, give me 15. Give me 15, Lord.
Dear God, please let Miguel see just one movie that I wish he would see.
You're going to have to wrap a movie and give it to Ed and like a picture, and then he'll open it up and you'll be like, see, this is my Christmas present to you. I've watched this Martin Scorsese movie. Like,
yeah.
But wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be heartfelt?
I would love that. If you went out of your way to watch a movie that you know I loved, yes.
Yeah.
Love you.
Okay.
Anyway, so I was telling Luis, I felt like we missed the opportunity during the Christopher Nolan ranking to talk about some of our like favorite performances. Ooh, wow.
Sorry, my son's making noise. Sorry.
So we'll
favorite performances.
Favorite performances of any Scorsese film. Go.
Daniel Day-Lewis,
right now?
Gangs of New York, Sharon Stone from Casino, Robert De Niro from. I don't want to say yet. I don't want to say which one yet.
Luis,
I wasn't ready.
Have you been reading my list, man? Have you been looking at my notes?
No, I haven't. I haven't been looking at your list.
Daniel Day-Lewis is a huge standout to me in Gangs of New York. I fucking love that role. Before there was Daniel Plainview, there was Bill Cutting. Bill the Butcher.
I will say this. I mean, he's never done another movie with Daniel Day-Lewis. Am I wrong?
Yes, The Age of Innocence, you son of a bitch.
I honestly, I hate Martin Scorsese movies. I'll never watch them.
I'll tell you what, Miguel,
that blows my mind.
You would hate The Age of Innocence.
I appreciate you saying, like, you know what I don't want to watch. That's good.
But because of that movie, because of Age of Innocence, he talked Daniel Day-Lewis back into doing it again.
Yeah, it was pre that. Okay.
So when he saw, he's like, I want to work with that actor again. And then Tobey Maguire got him to jump back in.
That's right. Yeah. Spider-Man, you know what I mean?
Spider-Man got Daniel Day-Lewis to play Gangs of New York.
Daniel Day-Lewis was like, oh, one of the greatest actors of our generation, Tobey Maguire. I should listen to him.
He was probably just like, I'm never going to get in a Martin Scorsese movie. Let me get Daniel Day-Lewis back in there.
He's like, let me do some work. Let me do some behind-the-scenes work. Yeah. To make some cinema gold.
I gotta be in the credits somehow.
Credit for that.
Maybe later, I'll get credit for it. And sure enough, here we are.
I have a ton of favorites, but I don't want to really necessarily give them all away.
Give me one.
I will say this. I put Casino a little lower on my list, but I was not thinking about Sharon Stone and her character. That she is what really, because when I saw Casino, I'd seen Goodfellas a million times. Okay, like Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci. I mean, they show up in a Martin Scorsese movie. You just know that it's going to work.
Like you just sit Sharon back and Stone,
yes, but Sharon Stone in that movie, man, what a performance, dude! Yeah, she does a standout in a room of standouts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's one of the ones. But I have some others that I really want to talk about.
We'll get into it. We'll get into it.
Yeah.
All right. Final question.
Okay.
What is your favorite collaboration era? De Niro or DiCaprio?
That's tough. Sweet or sour. Which one do you want?
There it is. Okay, so if you put it to a certain perspective, De Niro's had more. He's had upwards of like 9 collaborations with Scorsese. And DiCaprio, this is his 7th? 6th.
But, which is still kind of a lot, though. Yeah.
Which is still a lot. But I feel like every time that a Leo DiCaprio Scorsese film comes out, it's an event.
It works.
Mm-hmm. I feel like when it was in the early days of Scorsese, they had some hits and misses, some really great hits, but then also some like misses that people consider less of Scorsese or Scorsese, whatever.
Scorsese.
You've really fucked me up.
I really
with that.
Fucked you up.
But yeah, so I mean,
interesting. I'm looking at my rankings, and Leonardo DiCaprio and
shows up more.
Him and Robert De Niro are kind of equal, and they're on equal footing of where I've put their movies. Like every time I think, oh, so and so is a little bit ahead, it goes,
it's
they're
De Niro, DiCaprio, DiCaprio.
It's such a hard,
not quite like that, but yes, they're a very.
No, I mean that was the same thing with me. Honestly, you go down.
What about you? Who do you like? Who do you prefer, De Niro or DiCaprio? Or Dida?
I think De Niro is more iconic, but DiCaprio has been more consistent.
Ooh,
and I know that's kind of a cop-out answer because I'm not giving an answer really. It's DiCaprio is more honed in. This is like.
I just feel like I'm going to be honest.
The 21st century has been great to Martin Scorsese.
Every time,
I will agree with that. Like the 2000s. Killer. With these other years,
even the lesser films of this century are still great.
Right.
Yeah. Whereas, like at the beginning of his career, obviously there were more like studio-tied movies. There weren't pure Scorsese, and then when he starts bringing in De Niro, it gets great. But they had, they tried some things that didn't work, like New York, and stuff like that. And I say that I haven't watched New York.
Yeah,
I
would say.
I've heard
Yeah,
enough.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
You went on vibes. All right, good
I
job.
went on vibes. I was vibing.
That's good.
I had to
I don't
make
think
choices
New York.
leading
I don't
up
think
to
New York
today.
and New York is as bad as they say it was.
I don't think. I'm sure it's not terrible or anything like that. I don't think there's one movie, and we'll get into it, that I think is like my least favorite Scorsese.
I
least,
can't wait.
do you guys have a least?
I don't want to talk
Well,
about
I guess
Well, I've only seen 10
You know
movies,
what?
so.
yeah, my least, I guess, number 10.
If I had to guess, Miguel's least favorite is Kundun.
And you know I saw that one.
I kind of had a rough time with Bringing Out the Dead.
Ooh.
Oh, okay. All right. I hear you.
I was just
hear you.
like,
I see.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Well, if we're saying it, I had a rough time with Cape Fear.
Dude, honestly, I kind of did too. Like,
really,
that movie supposedly was like really good. Everybody liked it, and every time I watched, I was like, I don't know, man. Like,
that's
maybe
the movie.
I think he was going for that Hitchcock style, and it just like it.
It was so many eye rolls. It wasn't satisfying in any way.
Yeah,
I thought it was over the top, a little ludicrous, and not in a fun way, kind of thing.
This is where they did it. When I was watching, I was like, oh my god, this is what the Simpsons were parodying all those years ago.
Oh, no.
And that was better. That was better.
Yeah, it was.
That's I struggle with that one. I didn't.
Well, you know what's
that one.
You know what's funny, Ed, is his voice when he was doing his voice for Killers of the Flower Moon. I was like, it has like just a dollop of that Cape Fear voice, you know?
Yeah, totally, absolutely. Yeah. But it's just more consistent in this, so you're just like, it's so obnoxious in that film.
The tone is definitely like that old like Hitchcock, like it's definitely was over dramatized first, and it was like their blockbuster movie. It was like, we'll make you make Last Temptation of Christ if you make Cape Fear. This movie, which was a remake. It was a remake of another movie.
Yeah, it was a remake. He had Spielberg had the rights to Cape Fear, and Scorsese had the rights to Schindler's List. But Schindler's List, he didn't want to connect with emotionally, and he felt it wasn't right because he wasn't Jewish. Yeah. So he wanted to hand it to Spielberg, and they traded projects.
Woof.
So
he was like, I'm not. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So
I mean, Luis, have you seen Schindler's List?
Yes, I have. I have seen it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Guys, I've seen movies.
And that's me saying that. I know.
Okay.
I mean,
I've seen
you did
movies.
only just see Saving Private Ryan.
Okay, well, that was different. And I have a thing about war movies, okay? Well, I guess Schindler's List is also.
Kind of.
Okay,
yeah.
Well, you know what? Fuck off. Let's go to top 10.
All right, top 10. Do we want to do runners up, or do we want to bring that up last?
We'll bring that up last. I like it at the end.
Okay. Miguel doesn't have any. But Miguel,
I got one
theory,
for you, Miguel.
Which one that you haven't seen appealed to you the most?
Ooh. Okay, well, I know you're being silly right now, but can I tell you the movies that I do want to watch I just haven't seen yet? Okay.
Okay, do it. I want to hear.
I want to see Raging Bull. I want to see
Taxi
Driver.
Christ.
Yeah, I know. I didn't see those movies.
I could have sworn that I've made you watch that.
Miguel,
no.
Those two movies you should have seen for this one ranking.
Yeah, I know. And I said, you know what? I don't have time. I'm saving the citizens of New York.
I almost gave you a list of
movies. You should have, to be honest. That's on you.
I was just like, hey, Miguel, baby, I know you're not going to watch all of these, but here's 5 that you should.
Wow. The fact that you even think I would sit down and watch 5 movies is kind of stupid, but okay.
Spider-Man.
I'll watch all of those.
All right, well, good to know that they're on your radar, right?
I wanted to watch them, okay?
Okay. And it's never too late, right?
That's right.
All right. Number 10. Miguel, take it away.
All right, number 10.
Number 10, here we go.
The bottom of my top 10 Scorsese movies, okay? Because I didn't finish it, all right?
Oh, fuck, it's silence, isn't it?
It's silence. I'm sorry. I will say this. That's another one that I do want to see. You guys, Spider-Man just came out, okay? So I had to really ask myself, what am I doing with my life right now, okay?
All right.
I saw Killers of the Flower Moon, okay?
You wanted
How
to
far
see
did
that
you get?
too.
I'm curious.
I did want to see that one. When they got off the boat.
Fuck me. They just arrived to Japan.
Can I tell you what I didn't connect with, which didn't make me want to keep watching?
Andrew Garfield?
The fact that Andrew Garfield is lauded as a great actor is pretty wild.
He's done some great stuff.
When he smashed that laptop in Social Network, I said, this guy is going places. And one of them was Japan.
Good segue.
Thank you. I don't know. But I do kind of like the pairing of the two of them. Liam Neeson hasn't really been in the movie too much yet, so would be kind of curious to see what he was doing with it. This is the bullshit conversation. I didn't see the movie. Okay.
Okay.
But I started it, and it's number 10. 10 out of 10 for me.
And we're fucking talking about 10 minutes into the movie. You bailed.
I know. I'm sorry. Listen, you guys, I just want to be clear. Like, if you don't want me on your podcast anymore, just say it, But also, here I am. Like, this is, at least I'm honest.
Silence, number 10. That's enough out of you, Miguel.
Thank you.
Luis, number 10. Let's hear it.
Okay. My number 10 is chaotic, overwhelming. You're going to have anxiety. My number 10 is After Hours.
Ooh.
Oh, okay. This was one I didn't see, so to my shame.
I will just say it's a whirlwind. It's insane. It's wacky. It's funny.
It's top 10.
It's top 10. It's funny. It's surreal. You just kind of get on this ride and you just go. And so
I got the impression that it was kind of like, one of those kind of like gonzo films where it's just kind of like a buckle up and see what. No, like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas gonzo.
I thought you were saying yes to me.
No, I wasn't talking to you. I was talking about.
I mean, give me a Martin Scorsese Muppets film. I want it.
Muppets Go to Manhattan.
Honestly,
Part 2.
Robert De Niro.
Starts out with Gonzo getting shot at outside of a hotel.
Oh man. You know what, Kermit? Why didn't you go fuck yourself? Oh, waka waka!
Being a comedian was hard in the 90s in New York.
Oh, okay, Barbie.
I'd see that movie.
Oh, 100%. That'd be $1 billion right there. All right, After Hours. Well, I will eventually get around to seeing that one. Right after Kundan.
Okay.
All right, for me, it's Taxi Driver.
Ooh.
There it is.
Yeah.
There it is.
That movie agreed with me a lot more seeing it the second time. The first time, I think it was like one of those movies that's been hailed as a masterpiece for 30 years.
Yeah.
To where I was just like, it's fine. It didn't click with me, but the second time watching it, I absorbed a lot more, and yeah, go ahead.
Is this the one that they compare Joker to that movie?
It's a little bit of this, and then a little bit of King of Comedy.
That's right.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it is kind of a lot like Joker as well. Yeah. Taxi Driver, I mean.
In retrospect, watching that movie, did you feel like the Joker's not as good as I thought it was?
I've been feeling that before. Yeah. The more I see the Joker, the more it bothers me, I guess.
All right. Fair enough.
Yeah. C'est la vie. All right, Miguel, take us to number 9. That full view.
Did you finish this movie? Did you see this whole movie?
I have seen the rest of these movies, okay?
Okay, great.
Like, all the way through. Now, this one went in the number 9 spot because I've seen it once, okay? And most of these other movies I've seen, I've more than once, okay, Ed? Fuck you. Is it what, Ed? What do you think it is, huh?
Killers of the Flower Moon.
That would be so disrespectful. I would never. Okay. No, in the number 9 spot, I put The Aviator. Okay.
Oh, okay. All right. Do you want to elaborate?
I do, but I was kind of reading Luis's reaction for a second.
I almost fell down. I almost fell down.
Then I watched the movie.
Oh my god.
So I know. I do remember Luis was kind of talking shit about Kate Blanchett's character recently, right?
This podcast.
Sorry, my bad. I just remember that was the one fact I remember.
Okay, I mean, we shit about it.
Okay, hold on. Time out. Okay. Oh, here we go. Okay.
Yeah,
let me.
The Oscar-winning performance.
Before you get into it, why I wrote Aviator down, besides the fact that it was one of the 10 movies I've seen, is Kate Blanchett's performance in that movie. I mean, that it stood out to me. I remember really enjoying it, and then I remember Luis saying a few weeks back that he hated it. So I threw it out there.
This is what happened. I was having a good time. And I was like, I want to rewatch The Aviator. So I put that baby on, feeling a little loose. Ready to enjoy some Scorsese.
All right.
And then here comes Kate Blanchett doing a character and saying, "Hey, I'm Katharine Hepburn." And I was just like, in that state, I was just like, I could feel both Leo and her overacting, that it kind of really off-put me. And then Miguel was like, well, maybe that was the point of the character. Maybe because she was playing a lead star, she had to act even in person with other people.
Yeah.
And so if I take that interpretation, then yes. But at the time, I wasn't my full self, and I was just like, what the fuck is this shit? And then I was just like, I could feel I could just feel like I'm
watch
acting
Katharine
right
Hepburn.
now.
She is so Katharine Hepburn in that movie. Like,
I just felt like I'm acting right now.
People portray real people, especially in The Aviator, but like Kate Blanchett was Katharine Hepburn in that movie. I think to a T.
I guess I could see the
interviews
scenes
with that woman, and I've seen her acting. I was just like, yeah, that's her.
Well, I love her and everything else. She's one of my favorite actors. You know, I love her, but I was taken by surprise.
Katharine Hepburn or Kate Blanchett?
Kate Blanchett.
Okay.
I was just taken by surprise. But I will say at the end, the last scene when she's like maybe being real with him, and he's like, let me in, Howard, let me in. Like, that was a very good scene. It's just like, what comes out right away is the golf scene. When she's walking out, I was like, let me tell you, I'm going out here. And it's just like, I could just like feel like.
I just want to say that I appreciate Luis commented on something that I said that was like quasi coherent. Okay, so shout out past Miguel and Luis.
I think I'm like Team Miguel at this point. Fuck.
Thank you. Hey, you guys were dogging on me, but hey. Forget about it.
I know. You know what? And then I looked online and saw she won an Academy Award, and I was double shocked. I was like, what?
You were like, damn, this bitch wait, okay.
Yeah.
I love her. Please don't ever find my podcast. Don't ever retweet this.
Oh, Kate Blanchett. That's on you, dog, because Kate Blanchett and me? Kate Blanchett and me?
Oh,
if Miguel and I could, we'd give her that Oscar again.
10 years later, they're going to dig this up and they'll be like, whoa, Luis Gonzalez said this about
was an asshole.
Yeah.
I don't know who's next.
In recent news, it's Luis.
Number 9, baby.
Number 9. You know what? I've actually was flipping these two, and I'm going to stick it with this one, I guess. My number 9 is going to be that one.
What
silence?
one?
It's silence.
Yes, the silence. It was silence.
Okay. Me and Luis on a similar vibe. Shout out.
Yeah. Look, hold on. I've seen 24 of them. So this is to say,
I've seen this whole movie. So Miguel, shut up.
Look, I'm a Catholic. Okay, I was or whatever. And so I grew up Catholic. And so I obviously have some feelings about it, but like it was just this whole thing was, I thought it was beautifully shot. I thought it was a great movie, and
that's the only thing it was nominated for was best cinematography.
Oof, I would put this top 3 or 5 movies beautifully shot from him. You know what I mean? I loved the way it looked. I think it really pushes the character really well. And it keeps questioning him about like choosing the lesser of two evils. And it's interesting to see how like innocent sometimes a lot of his characters are, how innocent they are from the beginning until they go through all these trials and they really have to deal with the shit. And he really puts the pressure on these characters. And so it really makes for an interesting, good ride. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm done.
I agree 100%. Loved Silence.
Especially when they get off that boat.
With the way that... never mind.
Yeah, just shut up. All right, my number 9. Can you see the wolves in this picture? It's The Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh, okay. But also, whoa, okay. You saw some good Scorsese movies, okay.
I do thoroughly enjoy this movie. This is a movie that I made the mistake of reading the book before the movie. So there are some things that always kind of like left me a little disappointed. I do think whilst it's like, again, maybe one of Leo's best performances and it's got a great cast, I think this is when the improvisation. Oh my god, why can't I speak? The improv
Get your shit together, Ed.
Overboard, and it's also a movie where
at what point?
A lot of points. Of points.
but name one.
Okay. Fuck me. I've had too much whiskey for this.
What about when they're talking about like getting the they're around the table and they're discussing about
they're just talking about bullshit.
When he throws the ketchup bottle, are you talking about that one?
No. When they're just in the office talking bullshit about whatever, and then his dad comes into the room. Another scene, like when Margot Robbie throws the water in his face. And it's just, and she's like, who, you fucking owl? It's like, I've heard that so many fucking times in a movie, it's not even funny. And Al Pacino did it best. In
that same outfit.
In the same outfit. He looked great. So hot. Ooh-ah. But like
that's
overall, it's a lot of fun. It's hilarious. Like, and the fact that he made that movie in his 70s, like mid 70s or whatever, is great. Like, it's chock full of energy. It's just like it's a movie for me of like brilliant moments and scenes and stuff. There's a lot of the exposition is where I struggle with, I guess. Like,
fair enough.
As the story as a whole, it's wild. It's a great time. Mm-hmm. And like, yeah, everybody's great. Like, Jonah Hill's great. Matthew McConaughey's great. Leo's great. Margot Robbie is great. That was the introduction to the world of Margot Robbie, and what an introduction! Like, ooh-wee.
We were talking about performances. Jonah Hill's performance in that movie, I mean, was
killer
for me. Like, I mean, top 5 Scorsese actors. You know what I mean? I loved him in that movie.
Yeah,
everyone was.
No, I mean, everyone was really good, and I'm not like, this is still like a 5 out of 5 star.
A top 10 Scorsese movie is a Scorsese movie. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Like,
from 10 to 1, they're all pretty incredible. Do you know? Yeah,
they're all good. Yeah,
that's why it was so tough putting.
I'm with you.
To leave certain movies out was what was killing me. So yeah, Wolf of Wall Street for me, number 9. Miguel, number 8.
Oh my god, it's me again. We talked about it briefly already. I'm going to throw it out there. Number 8, Gangs of New York. Ed, we were talking about firsts with Scorsese. Yeah. This was, Ed, baby, lock eyes with me. Lock eyes. Hey.
Sorry, I've got to fill in the slot.
Where are we? Wait, where are we? No, Ed, this was my first Scorsese movie. There he is. Oh, that beautiful son of a bitch. This was my first Scorsese Ed movie, okay? I remember I watched this on VHS, or maybe DVD, but probably VHS.
I still have it. I see it.
Yeah, you're looking right at it because you son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Because you are who you are. I watched this with you. It was one of those movies that I'd seen The Departed, obviously, and I was like, oh, okay, this Scorsese guy, he makes some pretty good movies, okay?
Is he up and comer or what?
Wow, he should put his name on more things. Hey. No, this was a solid performances from Leonardo DiCaprio, but obviously Daniel Day-Lewis as Bill the Butcher. Yeah, number 8. I mean, it was
kick-ass.
Weakest link in that movie, go.
Cameron Diaz.
All right.
I want you to know, first off, not only did I just agree with you in that moment that yes, Cameron Diaz was the weakling, but I also knew what Ed wanted me to say.
I knew that too. I knew what you were going to say.
I say you set me up to sound like an asshole, but that was a you thought, okay?
Oh yeah, no, I think it's like universally agreed.
Cameron Diaz is often miscast.
Yeah. And that movie she had needed a budget, and she was hot back then. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it. It's a choice.
Yeah, it was just like, hey, you want to build this massive epic? You got to have Cameron Diaz and Leo DiCaprio macking out.
I mean, let's talk about Brendan Gleeson as well. Brendan Gleeson, Daniel Day-Lewis,
really great.
Leonardo DiCaprio,
John C. Reilly.
John C. Reilly. That was like after the fact.
I didn't expect that.
That
it's
man
a
will
solid
just pop
cast.
up and rock it. All right, Luis, number 8.
My number 8. This is a challenging movie.
Don't say the wrong thing.
This took me a couple. The first watch, I was like, I don't know.
Uh-oh.
And then the second time, I was like, oh, I get it. Well, I don't get it, but I'm into it. And I feel like with the rewatch, it will do a lot better and better. And this is why I like Scorsese, because he challenges you. Okay.
Yeah.
My number 8 is Age of Innocence.
Ooh.
I think this movie is like a blade to your heart, slowly being pushed in and in and in. If there is a movie to never have your phone in your hand, it would be this one, because there's so much nuance and so much like detail and subtlety. This man comes out guns a-blazing everywhere. When this one, there ain't no guns a-blazing. It's all guns with words and gestures and nods and looks. It's so small and tiny, but that is what the lifestyle of the Gilded Age in New York was in the 19 whatever or 18 whenever it was. You know, and so he takes that and he creates drama.
But you watch it, and tension in that movie is palpable.
You kind of sold me on that shit hard right now. Like,
I still think Miguel would.
It's a challenging movie. You're gonna be like, I want to get my phone. What's happening? Who are these people?
First off, I just want to say, I want to acknowledge that I get it. Okay, I am gonna be on my phone, and I appreciate that. We just accept that is who I am. But every time you say, "Oh, Miguel, just put your phone down for this movie," it makes me want to go, hey, let me put my phone down for this movie.
Does it?
Okay. If you tell me this is the one, I'll put it down. But use it sparingly, okay?
I know. No, this is top 3. You better not. I mean, it's just like you got to be paying attention to what's happening. There's tiny looks and nods that you could miss by going down, and it's just like, again, a slow plunge. I
appreciate that.
I just want to say, Luis, I just want to kiss you on the lips for actually including this. So I left this out of my top 10, I'll go ahead and say, but it's at my number 11. I guess just because I haven't seen it as many times as I want to, but rewatching it, this was one of those movies where I was just like, I want to watch it again, and I want to, because I loved it the first time I saw it. But when I rewatched it, I wanted to watch it on the TV, so I did, and like I still loved it. It is just one of his most like gorgeous looking films. First off, like the cinematography is beautiful in that film, and I love the story around it too. The fact that Jay Cox gave him the novel back in the 80s. He's like, if you ever make that romantic film, this is it. Like I love that story about it, you know. And like knowing that Daniel Day-Lewis went from this to Gangs of New York later on down the road, and you know, like I've read that like Daniel Day-Lewis was a little like he was excited to work with Martin Scorsese, but he was disappointed to be playing just like a stiff upper, you know, class snob kind of deal, because he felt like he was being typecast, but. It was so.
If we could all be typecast as some rich upper class fella,
but no, I love it. I like just so good, so good. It was such a joy to watch. So I'm so glad that you have it.
It's on the list.
So
one of our lists,
and I should have. So I'm a coward.
We're gonna have yours is gonna be high, mine's gonna be low. Everyone's movies are gonna be everywhere.
I know.
It's a very personal.
And Miguel is here.
Choice. It's a personal. Miguel. It's a personal choice. Okay, who's next?
It's me. Hang on. My number 8 is Casino.
Interesting. Okay.
I was just watching this movie, and this is one of those Scorsese movies early on I was watching a lot of. It was more available to me, I guess. No, that's not even a reason. It was just like my sister had it on VHS. She had the poster of it, and that was like my kind of like my first like, oh, this is Martin Scorsese kind of thing. Before like I got into Goodfellas, The Departed, Gangs of New York, and all of that shit. It was like a director that I wasn't old enough to see yet, but he's cool kind of deal. And I've seen it so many times that I love it. To me, it's like Goodfellas, but it's just kind of more depressing and bleaker. Like, it's just Goodfellas is a little bit more fun, but Casino is so... It is fun in a way, but it's also just like a tragedy, really. I mean,
that's interesting that you say that, because I didn't watch Casino for the longest time because I'd seen Goodfellas so much.
And I kind of do, right?
Yeah, and I kind of felt like, not only do I pair them up, I just assumed, oh, it's just going to be the same movie in a different location, you know? And maybe you could, you know, I don't know, on a shallow level say that, but no, it was a totally different movie. And
it still holds up. It's a lot of fun. One thing I wanted to mention, like with Age of Innocence, with Killers of the Flower Moon, and this movie in particular is like, I love the costume design in a lot of Martin Scorsese's films, but like Robert De Niro's wardrobe alone in this movie is fantastic.
10 out of 10.
Like that scene where he's behind the desk in his office and
with
he's
the blue
got
pants.
he's got that commissioner coming in, and he's just like, 1 minute, and he goes to his wardrobe. He doesn't have his pants on, and he's just like, he's got the high socks and everything, but everything is coordinated. Like, it looks so clean, so fresh, you know. But
he's even drinking my Atlanta when he had that blue bottle. It's like,
yes,
he got a hurt tummy.
So, yeah,
me and Sarah both turned to each other. It was like, is he drinking my Atlanta right now?
That's hilarious. I didn't even connect the two, but I love it. But yeah, it's like, because like the whole Joe Pesci and Sharon Stone situation is so sleazy. But Sharon Stone is fucking fantastic in it. I love James Woods in it too. He's such a fucking sleazebag. But yeah, no, I mean, it's a great movie. It's a lot of fun. It's like the, you know, unofficial sequel to Goodfellas, you know. But yeah, I had it lower down because I just associate the two so much, and one is clearly better than the other. Maybe the Sun. I don't know.
I'm just looking at my.
Me no know. All right, so Miguel,
next?
number 7.
All right. All right. We're in 7 territory. I did. I've seen all of these movies, okay? And we're getting into movies that I've seen more than once.
Ooh.
Okay.
Spicy.
I saw this one twice. Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah. So number 7, I'm throwing out Shutter Island.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
I've seen 10 Scorsese movies, okay? Bear with me, okay?
Mark Ruffalo's finest.
Where he was like, I'm probably not going to act anymore. And then they were like, you want to be the Hulk?
I'm back in the game.
Shutter Island
left.
Shutter Island for me was, again, just in that like early days Scorsese. I had seen The Departed. Shutter Island was like, ooh, I'll see another one from this guy, from this kid.
Yeah.
Let me see what this kid can do. I mean, the twist alone is what put it on the list. But it's a fantastic story, great cast.
I like that. It hits a lot of the themes that he repeats a lot, which is delusion, and a lot of the characters are deluded and think a certain way. That's obviously the clearest, you know, example of it. But you have that from like, I don't know. I don't want to spoil any, but you have a lot of them where people think are a certain way or what's better or what works, and it's a strong theme that he has throughout.
It's also one of those movies that And I mean, it's such a fucking cliche of me to keep saying this for so many movies. Like, it was the same with Taxi Driver, but it's definitely one of those movies that gets better with repeated viewings. Because I remember seeing this in theaters, coming away, just like, huh. You know, just like, because they set, especially like in the trailers, they set it up as that mystery of him. He is trying to find that missing patient. And you think that the asylum is, fucking with him and trying to, do whatever. But, as it goes on and the more you see it, it's just one of those rewarding rewatches where you look for the hints and the clues to the bigger picture going on. It's really, it's just an interesting watch. And this was one I revisited leading up to this, and it didn't make my top 10, but I definitely enjoy it more and more every time I see it. Sorry.
It has those moments where, like, think it trips you out a little bit. Where it's like this woman, you're interviewing an older woman, and she's like, "Can I have a glass of water?" And they're like, "Sure." So he gets a glass of water. They give it to her. Cut to her with nothing in her hand, acting as if she's drinking, and then cut to the other side of the angle, and she has the water cup in her hand. And it's like these little, I don't know, weird things that kind of trip you up that I like. You know what I'm talking about, Miguel?
Yeah.
It's a movie I love so much, I saw it twice. So let's go.
Okay. It's my turn, right?
Number 7.
All right.
Number 7.
My number 7. This one's running on all cylinders.
Number
Kinetic. 7. Great performance. It's going to be Wolf of Wall Street. So this one. Listen, this is actually, it could be higher on my list, but I have it here out of respect for some of these movies. But this is just like a really fun ride. I don't think it may have the perfect landing of like for a movie's experience, and it does have a lot of just like loose things happening. It's wild and it could be tighter, but you know what? I mean, I just have a ball with this one. It is so fun. It is so kinetic again. I feel like he is just a master at this point, just kind of perfectly capturing everything. The performances are great, and it is such a fun ride for me. I had to put it on here.
It was like Leo came to him. He was like, "Hey,
he did.
I want you to read this book," and then like Marty was just like, "Yeah, I'll just let you play around with your buddies, and I'm just going to capture it."
And I like that they didn't make him. They tried to make him like into a good person. Like that was like their goal throughout the whole thing. It's like, listen, we're not going to shape it so that our character has some sort of force arc. It's like we are just going to play these moments as they happen and not make them redeemable in a lot of places. As you would in other movies. He's just like, let's just play the reality of the scene. So anyway, Wolf of Wall Street.
Wolf of Wall Street. All right, my number 7 coming in hot. We've mentioned it twice already. It's Silence.
Look at that.
I love a crisis of faith movie, and Martin Scorsese does it so well. Same with The Last Temptation of Christ, and it just, especially when it's done well like this, Silence was underrated in my opinion. Like they really botched that marketing on that film, but it's not an easy film to watch. When you start getting into the, not only the like moral dilemmas of it, but the actual torture of civilians and priests alike, it's not an easy watch, and it's just one of those more kind of toned down movies of his, where you're just kind of left a little shaken, and it's a conversation piece too. You want to talk about it. It's because you're dealing with like the the hypocrisy of faith. You're talking about the arrogance of Christianity on a grander scale, not only, and then also on the personal level with Andrew Garfield and Adam Driver, who want the opportunity to martyr themselves like Jesus, and But
and then they were like, "This is hard." Midway through,
yeah, but
they're
it's
like, "How do you do this?"
That makes them not like Jesus in the first place, you know.
Yeah.
And it's just, I love that kind of that clash, you know, and it's so. I feel like it's kind of rewarding at the end. Like Miguel, you said you didn't get to see more Liam Neeson, but when you do, it's, you know, it's kind of like a revelation, not only to the characters in the film, like Andrew Garfield, but also just like on a whole other level. It's just like that clash of culture between Japanese and, in this case, Portuguese. What do you call them? What are they called? The priests,
Catholics? The Jesuits.
The priests, Jesuits. Thank you. Sorry. But yeah, no, I just love it, and yeah, it's such a beautiful looking film, and the Japanese cast in it are fantastic, like across the board. So, yeah, no, I love it, Miguel.
And that,
and
that third act,
someday.
the third act reveal when it happens, it's just like all of his movies here. They all start off kind of like not slow, but they just, you know, it's not a lot happens, and then it really spikes up into that third act, building everything, and it's good.
Yeah, no, and it's a rough watch. It's uneasy. I saw it twice in theaters. That's how much I loved it. And I mean, that movie was not in theaters long. You know what I mean? But yeah, it was. Yeah, it's just one of those movies that really sits with you, and at least for me. And yeah,
no, it's good.
I was drawn to it. So number 7, my silence. Miguel, number 6.
I'm cracking up that you saw it twice in theaters. That's like the most Ed movie to go be like, I need to see that twice.
I tried to take my mum to it, my mum and my older sister, and my mum walked out because it just got too intense for her, which I get, whatever. Sure. And she went off to go see La La Land. She just stuck into La La Land. So yeah, no. Yeah, it was worth it. Would do again.
Would do for a third time. Okay, good to know.
Miguel, number 6.
Number 6, we've talked about it already. Casino. I had a great time with that movie. That was one that I saw in the last like 2 or 3 years. It was every time I see a Martin Scorsese movie, it's usually something that I've already missed. You know what I mean? And I'm catching up on. And then I go, wow, that was actually a pretty good movie. And I'm like, oh yeah, duh. Okay, so. Yeah, it's Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci, but like I said earlier, Sharon Stone was really the standout, and James Woods also. I mean, that whole storyline is really good. 10 out of 10. Number 6.
No, yeah, I agree. Good.
Luis, what's your number 6 then?
Okay, man, look at this list. It's like, did I do right? But this is me, I guess.
It's so hard.
My number 6. Is going to be Raging Bull. So let me tell you, the way that you feel about the bear. Do you know what I mean? How like the chaos of it all, and like how you just like it like kind of. So this character, like, he really pissed me off. Like. Yeah. It was kind of got really hard for me to watch and enjoy the movie because of it.
It's interesting. Yeah.
It could go higher because technically, and you know, the way it was directed and that was the intent. Yes. For that reason, it could be higher. But because of my personal experience to it, I just have a really hard time chewing up and eating this character because it's like, I do not.
He's awful.
Him. Yeah. He's awful. And there are some other characters that are in these other top movies that are equally awful. But this one in particular is just so violently awful, especially to those he's close to, that it was so disturbing for me. And then it wasn't near the end when he's smacking his head and he's just like, why, and all that stuff. I was like, oh, I'm beginning to feel for him a little bit. And then, well, I don't want to spoil too much for Miguel. But what I'm trying to say is beautifully shot, you know, like incredibly performances, like all these things, but it just I couldn't stomach that character because he did such a good job. How about that? You know?
Ooh.
Yeah.
This is the boxing movie, right? I just want to make sure
black and white.
Okay. I'm like, yeah, okay. I know which movie you're talking about.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we'll talk about it more, but yeah, famously, like Jake LaMotta went to see the movie with his ex-wife, and he was like, "Was I really that bad?" And she was like, "You were worse." Like that guy was a real shitheel. But yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I mean,
Raging Bull, number 6, huh?
Oh, the bear! I remember
didn't even make my top 10. So,
all right, Miguel. Oh no, wait, it's my turn.
No, it's you, right?
Yeah. All right, my number 6, The Aviator.
Nice.
So, unlike Luis, I really liked Kate Blanchett in this movie, but I like the entire cast. Again, we got John C. Reilly. Alan Arkin is fucking great. Fucking Alec Baldwin is great in this movie. Yeah. I love him in this movie as One Trip. It took, if anything, it was Leo who it took me time to adjust to, because this was still his early days, before The Departed really, I feel, at least for me, solidified his talents as like a serious actor. But the more, this is just like, I watch this movie maybe at least once a year. Like, I love this movie. Wow. I love the evolution of the cinematography from the beginning to the end, where it starts off with that kind of like early film colorization,
like the blue pinky feel without a lot of bright range.
Greens, yeah. And then eventually just developing into regular, colors, and then you've got the filmmaking element to it, you've got the political element to it, you've got the aviation, obviously, and just all the characters in between. Such a vast film, and I don't know.
The mental health part of it too.
Yeah.
He's like,
come in with the milk. It's just one of those movies that grew on me over time, and it's just one of my comfort Martin Scorsese films. Like, I genuinely enjoy it. I have such a great time with it every time. Great music too, which we haven't talked enough about, but like Martin Scorsese knows how to have a music drop, in his films. But yeah, Aviator for me, number 6. And that was a tough one. I went back between that, Casino, and Silence. Those 3 were really fucking me up. You guys are probably thinking I did it wrong, but
no. I'm just like, I'm thinking about the rest of the list. It's just like, it's tough. This is a tough.
Yeah, this is where it gets serious. All right, who's next? Miguel, number 5. Let's hear it.
This is when it gets serious. Okay, let's go. All right, so listen, I'm gonna go ahead and just say it. Number 5. We're on number 5, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm making sure I'm keeping up. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. This is a movie. I don't care if you like or dislike it. I really enjoyed it. Okay.
Yeah.
The Irishman.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Top 5 movie. Top 5 Scorsese movie of the 10 I've seen.
I love it.
I love this movie, man. This was one of those. This was like that. Couple of things going on here. First off, 3+ hour movie, not 3.5 exactly, but a little over 3. And it's a Netflix movie. And I was like, these two things don't really pull me in anymore. But it ended up being really good, with the exception of the god awful CGI. Okay. Oh, hang on 1 second.
Oh, just the de-aging specifically?
Yes, that it was very, very tricky. I commented earlier about Killers of the Flower Moon, about Leonardo DiCaprio feeling too old for the role he's playing. Sorry, my son's upset. But all of these actors in this movie were too old to play these characters. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it took a little time to get used to the CGI of it, but the overall story, I was hooked. And I love the idea of watching it in parts.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, y'all.
But you've done, right? You've watched in those sections.
Yes, but kind of unintentionally. Okay, so we went on a road trip like a year ago. It was the greatest moment of my family's life, and we would stay at the hotel, and at night everyone was asleep. So I'd be like, "Well, they have Netflix here. I'll just watch The Irishman." So I kind of watched it over 3 or 4 nights as we were traveling, and I was like, "This is great. I'm super enjoying this story." Everyone's acting perfectly. They just don't always look the right part.
Right. It's an interesting argument to have, as does it hinder it? Like, if you're taking young actors and make them look older,
what's funny is, like, I kind of expected it to be a lot worse when I watched it. I expected the CGI.
Oh, that's good.
And then when I watched it, I was like, oh, well, this isn't that bad. Like, I think I heard people overhype how bad it was, and so maybe that helped.
Here's the thing.
For me, they were leaning so hard on it is the problem.
Yes.
And I think that drew attention.
I want to say 2 really quick things about this, okay? First off, I watched something with Martin Scorsese recently. Sexy. There it is. Where he was like, I didn't want to do it, but then the CGI was so good, we just had to do it. And I was like, no, Marty, no. Like, it did not look good, okay? But I will say, in the era of doing that, Marvel was really doing it, you know what I mean? In like one of the Ant-Man movies, every time they de-aged an actor, kind of Tony Stark in that one movie,
Civil War.
Like, it was feasible technology. It just didn't work for this movie, I think.
Well, because also they didn't have the little dots on their faces. That was the one thing. He's like, I didn't want them acting with dots in their face, and so they tested out this new thing that they could just the computer could track it, and then they could overlay it. And
there are a lot of great moments where the acting just kind of just erases that. You know what I mean? It's just like you're so immersed in the scene. Like, there are some really good moments where, like, when DeNiro tells Pacino that it is what it is, and you could just like feel the heartbreak from Al Pacino, or like when Pesci is telling DeNiro, is like, you gotta take care of him, kind of thing. It's like, I didn't want to bring you into this, but the look on De Niro's face in that bit. One of the scenes that kills me, like, in a negative way, though, this is what I was talking about, one of his improv things, is that phone call that he has to Jimmy Hoffa's wife after he's killed him.
Oh, wow.
Just like, what I feel in the last decade, Martin Scorsese is allowed to happen in his films, and it happened in Killers of the Flower Moon, happened in Wolf of Wall Street. It's just like a lot of actors in one scene just going like, I don't know what to say. And it's just like, just fucking say the line. I don't want to hear this, just like you acting to hesitate to say something. Like, that's not...
He did that a lot in that movie, though.
And it's cringy. It's fucking cringy to me. And that scene, I struggle with.
It's crazy that I didn't really connect with you earlier when you were talking about how the improv bothered you. But the moment you said he called his wife, I was like, oh, that scene did suck. Yeah, that wasn't good.
It's just like scenes like that. Like, Leo does it a lot in Wolf of Wall Street. It's just like, what do you... It's a bit... I don't really know what to say. I don't really have a line to throw out there. I should just stick with the script, but I'm trying to act, you know.
Well, like, he promotes improv, you know what I mean? He does,
and sometimes it works really well, but sometimes it just like goes on too long, and you're just like, fucking stick to the script. The script is good. Use the script. But, you know, I sent you guys that video of Thelma Schoonmaker, and she was talking about some of her favorite moments, and she loved Wolf of Wall Street because there was so much improv, and as an editor, she had a lot of fun with that, you know. But, yeah, it's just like, that was just one of his jarring scenes to me. But
you know what?
The Irishman is fun.
I feel like maybe I only watched it one time, but that scene where he calls his wife, I mean, he's been with this man for a really long time. So I'm sure he was impacted by it. So if you were a little bit lost of words, I feel like that's kind of like somewhat earned. Do you know what I mean? But I also don't remember the
anything across. He just doesn't get anything across. Like, I get the impact of that. I got more of that, what you're talking about, Luis, when Joe Pesci is telling him he has to go out and kill him. I got more of that in that moment than when he's trying to call it.
Well, I'll rewatch it again. I'll rewatch it again. Okay.
Sorry, I almost moved on. Talking about favorite performances, there are so many good Joe Pesci. This is an honorable mention for me. There's so many good Joe Pesci's. This one was just like, oh my God, he's nailing this role.
Yeah.
Okay.
Totally.
So fun. And he's so much more quiet and subtle in this movie.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's so
That's
fun.
why Raging Bull is one that you need to watch too. He was great in that.
It's on the list. Can't wait.
He plays Robert De Niro's younger brother in that. And he's like his trainer technically too. But yeah, that's good.
But again, I said this comment about Killers of the Flower Moon, talking about The Irishman. Joe Pesci's over here calling Robert De Niro, hey, kid, hey, son, hey, fucking junior.
God, it's a joke. It's
fucking little, what did you just hit, puberty? It's too much.
Aside from the army scene, he's never supposed to be older than 40 or 30, right?
He's like most of them are supposed to be in their 40s during the main plot.
Oof.
Like, I think Jimmy Hoffa disappeared in his 50s. You know?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But Al Pacino, he plays the shit out of that role.
Oh,
okay?
he plays the
so
shit
good.
out of it. Like, that's like where Irishman works, is like when you stop caring about that bit.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just,
and Al Pacino shows up.
You're just vibing, yeah. Hoo-ah!
Dude, when he comes in, it was like, I forgot you were in this movie.
Is Al Pacino Italian or no?
I don't know.
I mean, Pacino.
No, I don't. I'll have to Google.
No, I think there was a moment he was like, these Italians, they keep doing all these things. And I'm like, but bro, aren't you Italian? Like, I don't know. I just had a hard time with
Jimmy
I'm playing a part.
Jimmy Hoffa was Irish.
That's what I mean, but I'm saying Pacino looked like he's talking like an Italian, and so I'm just thinking like, these Italians, they get out of my way. It's it's just okay, whatever. Is that not vibing with anybody?
Yeah.
All right, number 4, number 5.
Wait, shut up a second. His parents were Italian American.
Okay.
Yeah, Rose and Sol Pacino.
Got it.
All right. Anyway.
All right. Whatever.
Luis, number 5.
All right, maybe I'm just getting too hyped. Maybe I'm on the hype train, and maybe I just because I get to see 2 of my stars unite under one silver screen. My number 5 is Killers of the Flower Moon.
Nice.
We've already talked about it, but it's my number 5. Maybe it's because I just watched it, but there it is.
It's fresh in the mind.
Okay.
All right.
Miguel. Ed.
No, it's my turn.
It's Ed. It's Ed.
Well, I really hate to disappoint you guys. But my number 5.
Oh no.
Is also Killers of the Flower Moon.
Oh, okay, you guys.
Oh,
okay.
I like when we match sometimes.
Yeah, it really struck me, and like you said, it might still be just because it's fresh and it was impactful, but like I was really taken with it. So it's got a slot there, and time will tell whether it stays there, but right now I was, like you said, like Leo DiCaprio and De Niro facing off, but then like a female character who just kind of sweeps the board. It's just, I love it. So
perfect.
Killers of the Flower Moon, number 5. Miguel, number 4.
You guys, we're going to number 4, but I'm going to keep the vibe going. Okay.
Is it Killers of the Flower Moon?
It's Killers of the Flower Moon.
Yeah.
So I listen. It wasn't number 5, but we're kind of in a ballpark here.
We are in the ballpark.
Seems like we feel similarly about this movie. Okay.
Yeah.
We've over talked it. We talked about it already. I loved it. Lily Gladstone's amazing. Robert De Niro, solid. Leonardo DiCaprio, phenomenal actor.
Just miscast.
Just a little miscast. Loved it. Number 4.
Great.
All right. My number 4, right?
Yeah.
Here we go. My number 4, another movie that people would rank a lot higher, but I'm ranking it here. It's a straight I think it's a good popcorn experience, actually. I feel like when I first heard about this movie, I thought it was going to be okay, whatever. It's Goodfellas. Goodfellas is my number 4.
Wow. Okay.
Yes. Look, I'm sorry I want to shock anybody, but I got to be real about it myself. I had a great time with it. I just think it plays it straighter than maybe these other movies. That's all.
Did you only just
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It feels
for the first time?
What's that?
Was this your first time watching it? Leading up
I
to
saw
this?
it with my brother, and then I half saw it in college, and then I'm seeing it now. No, that's not true. I saw it with Sarah 3 or 4 years ago. So I've seen it a couple times.
All right.
Okay. I mean,
it's not the first time.
That's fair.
Gut reaction.
No.
You know, I think it was like after the I forget. I think it was like after the rough reception of The Last Temptation of Christ that Scorsese needed like a studio win, and they wanted him to make another gangster movie with DeNiro, and so this was it. But like obviously, it ended up being one of his best movies.
Of course,
absolute best movies.
Of course, I think everyone kind of imitates this when you think of Scorsese. You think Goodfellas, but it's this thing of like this person, thinks everything's going to go well, then nothing goes well, and then his life ends. It's kind of that arc. What? I'm just telling you how I'm telling you. Like, what's the problem here? There's great performances, sure, but
it's because I feel opposite. I want to talk about it. I don't want you to.
We'll get to
shit all over it. Okay.
We'll get to your number one when it's the Goodfellas. All right. When the rest of the internet's good, number one, the internet's number one pick is the Goodfellas. Everybody's got another top one. Who's your number one? Who's your number one? Who's your number one? Everyone's got it. And I had to be honest and true to myself. Okay. I could have put it up there. Same with Raging Bull, but you know what? This is why.
Okay. We back, baby. We back, dude. This is it.
All right, I'm done.
All right.
4. That's it up to you, buddy.
My number 4, this is also another one that I revisit like annually. I just adore this film, Gangs of New York. I think Scorsese looks back on this film as a disappointment, just because it was a rough production. He clashed with the studio a lot to get like the final edit, which I don't think he got. I think this was going to be like a 3-hour plus movie, and he got talked into cutting it down a lot. But
by Harvey Weinstein.
This was like, that cunt. It's also the last time where he went like all in on like scope and production design and everything, because it was like on that set that fucking George Lucas waddled onto the set and he was like, you can do all of this on computer now, and thus started a new era of Scorsese. But I mean the set design on this film is incredible. Like, it's so immersive, and I mentioned earlier, like, I love a good Scorsese history lesson, and this is like this brutal, unflinching look at the birth of America, essentially, just like the nitty-gritty, the streets where he was born, like Martin Scorsese, and he's telling its history. And I love it for that. And one of my favorite performances of any Scorsese film with Daniel Day-Lewis. Overall, mostly a great supporting cast. Particularly, I love Jim Broadbent in that film. Just like completely, just, not, working against type usually. Like, he's a British actor, usually very quiet kind of thing. And this was like, just sleazy New York kind of politician. I love it. And like, I just love it. I enjoy watching it all the time. It's great. Not necessarily like DiCaprio's best performance or anything. Not that it was a bad performance, but it's not about him. It's about
DeNiro recommended him.
He did, and he made it work. If it wasn't for him, his star status,
because he just did a movie with him before, and he's like, "Hey, you gotta check out this kid."
Yeah. And if
we've been talking, I'm sorry, we've been talking about this like dumb pop culture news where Robert De Niro and Martin Scorsese were like rolling their eyes at things Leonardo DiCaprio said on set. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, while he was improvising during scenes. And could you imagine being like Leonardo DiCaprio and being like, Robert De Niro fucking recommended me for this movie and it like started my career. And then like 20 years later, he's rolling his eyes like, shut the fuck up. Oh, I would die.
Yeah.
I would die.
It's a fun dynamic. I like those.
Gangs of New York. There you go.
Gangs in New York. What was that? Your number 4?
Yeah, no. So you guys are on number 3. Miguel, number 3.
Okay, I've seen these movies multiple times. Let's go.
Let's go.
All right. Number 3. Seems like I'm the one that really loved this movie, Wolf of Wall Street. We've already talked about it. Yeah. I had a great time. I think it was.
It's a good movie.
You know, if I'm going on vibes, it's one of my favorites. Okay.
It's the rule of Scorsese. It's all good. It's like, which one do you prefer?
That's right.
Right, Luis?
Oh, absolutely. I was working on like some sort of document, like just working and whatever, and then I just had Wolf of Wall Street in the background. I was just like, oh, this is nice. Like I feel just like comfort. It's like comfort food in a good way.
That's interesting you say that. I was definitely at work the other day and I had it on in the background while I was working, and it's like it is like a good background movie.
Yeah. Nice. Okay, so we're hitting to my number 3.
Number 3.
We've talked about this one, and after watching Goodfellas, I watched this movie, I think. And then I was like, which one we had a conversation, we said, which one do we like better? And you know what?
Wow.
I'm about to say I liked Casino a little bit better than Goodfellas. I think it has a great female character in Sharon Stone. I think it's a little bit more nuanced. I think it does run a little long in the tooth, but I think it's frustrating to see where these characters go, and I enjoy that frustration. I enjoy how they just can't fucking stop, and longer they keep doing what they're doing, they're going to lose. Just like in Casino, the longer you play in the casino, you will lose all your money, and so this is all about ambition and excess, and they just won't stop, and it's frustrating to see them in De Niro trying to rally and control everybody, and not knowing where it's going to turn out. And so for that, I was like, okay, I felt like I had a little bit more to chew on, to bite on, and a little bit more, I don't know, drama in that sense. And Pesci just fucking killing people with his fist. I think it's also, I love the lighting of it. I think it's beautifully lit. And
we didn't talk about that with Age of Innocence too, but I noticed that much more the second time watching it. It's like you really like will hone in. Like literally put a spotlight on people in a moment, like of a feeling and stuff, and I love that. It's great.
He's able to. He really knows the language of film and utilizes those things really well. Whether it's like holding a frame, changing colors, matting something so you just see the eyes, backlighting, single shots. Like it's like he's telling you what you need to be like feeling and focusing on. In that moment, it's just like, and not. He doesn't hide the fact that this is a movie, so I'm using cinematic.
It doesn't take you out of it. It's more of it just adds to the experience. Yeah, good shout.
So yeah, I want to say Casino.
No, Casino's great. Yeah. All right, because of your run earlier, I feel like you just got to roll your eyes at my top 3s, but fuck yourself, you know. These are great movies, and everybody agrees they're great movies.
I know, everybody's going to agree with the internet's going to agree. What's number 3?
I'm Louis. Let me hop off the bandwagon. You know what? Fuck you. These are great movies. So my number 3 is Raging Bull. I adore this film. The first time I watched this movie, the moment that opening credits starts.
Well, that's beautiful. The whole like him in the corner.
I'm swept away. The intermezzo music, gorgeous. Like I love it. It's so beautiful. The cinematography is great. The
face-offs and the boxing matches.
The boxing matches, but then the real life violence too is intense. Like you say, it's upsetting because you're just like, dude, stop, get out of your head. You're ruining your life, kind of thing. And it is. I mean, weirdly, it is kind of like The Bear in that sense. You're just like, why are people acting like this? Like, why? But like Joe Pesci is so good in it too. You see him desperately fighting to just bring his brother back down to earth, and yeah, it's just like a monumental kind of movie that just really sticks in your mind, and yeah, just I love it. It's
you have these characters that try to bring you down to reality of like Joe Pesci does it for him in Raging Bull, and then it happens in Mean Streets with Harvey Keitel and Robert De Niro. Is like, dude, just I'm trying to save you and help you here. Just like pay off your bets. I'm trying to help. And you have another character that's just trying to help. He's like lost in delusion.
Yeah, you're working against the mob. You know, you're losing your wife, who your second wife. You'll lose your kids and lose your brother. Lose your title, like everything. It's just like lose, and he just can't see it. It's great. I love it. It's so great. But
perfect.
Yeah, boring cliche, right? Miguel, number 2.
Okay,
this is where it all matters.
I just there's 2 things you guys know about me. I love a black and white film, and I love a boxing movie. My number 2 movie, no.
The movie I haven't even seen once.
Raging Bull.
Going all vibes.
No. I feel like it's 2 words. No, I mentioned it earlier. I loved The Departed. Okay, it is my number 2 Scorsese movie. It was my intro to Scorsese. It was kind of my intro into just like stories where good guys aren't all good, and they can die at the end of this movie.
Yeah,
and, you know what I mean. Just like the complexity of like trying to do the right thing, but having to do a bunch of bad things. No, I loved it. Movies, I love them.
I was shocked at that ending too, when it just kept happening, like pow, 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 like that elevator scene. I was just you could do that
back to back, and then when it's over, you go, oh, okay, I guess this guy survives at the end, and they go, no, he doesn't, and it's like the last thing that happens, and but hands down, I was talking about favorite performances. Oh man, this may have to be my number 2 spot, but Jack Nicholson as fuck me, I'm blanking on his
Frank
name.
Costello.
Oh my god, dude, he should have won an Oscar for this movie. This was hands down my favorite performance of Jack Nicholson ever. It's so good. The
fact that only Mark Wahlberg got nominated for that entire movie,
that's crazy. That's crazy.
That is insane. No offense to Mark Wahlberg. He was also really good in this movie. Okay.
No, he was. He was great. But so was fucking Alec Baldwin. So was Martin Sheen. So was fucking Matt Damon. Like, low-key, it's one of my favorite Leo DiCaprio performances, because it's just like his reaction to Frank Costello and Jack Nicholson's fucking wild mentality. You're just like, you feel that paranoia. It's so good. And the rat at the end, Miguel, right? You love rats.
Okay. But we could also talk about how that was a little on the nose. Okay? we could critique something. Okay, it'd be the fucking rat. All right. No, I loved The Departed. I had such a great time watching that movie. It was pivotal to my, teenage years.
Like a theatrical experience. Like
yeah.
When Martin Sheen is dropped off of that building, you felt the whole room went dead. It was just
when you're young and you watch a movie and then for like the next 24 hours, that's your whole personality.
Yes.
Like, yeah, I am fucking badass. You know what I mean?
I am a fucking rat.
Yeah. Whoa. No one said that, Ed.
After this movie, that one song kept playing over and over and over again. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Dropkick Murphy song?
Yes. Yeah. That
oh my God.
Ship it up to Boston. Whoa.
We were talking earlier. Yeah, you were talking about, Martin Scorsese really knows how to drop I was like, that one song in The Departed.
Yeah.
No, I love that movie. It's top 2 for me. And I had a fun time.
Super rewatchable. Like, it holds up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Luis, number 2. Let's
Here
hear
we go. All right, I know I was getting on you guys' back about being predictable, but I'm about to drop a predictable one here. My number 2 here is Hong Kong. It's gonna be Taxi Driver.
Taxi Driver. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Listen, I think this script is tight. Okay. I think it shifts tones really well. I think it takes you from one place to the next without you realizing it. And this guy, yes, he can be mentally ill. Yes, he just came back from the war. He is like a child, and he's just soaking up all this shit from New York, and you just see how it can drive him crazy and insane. And you know what? Shout out to Scorsese's first superhero movie. You know what I mean? Taxi Driver. Couldn't believe it. He's banging on Marvel. Look at this. Look at this guy making his own superhero movie. Being a vigilante himself as he goes on. I don't want to spoil too much. I feel like I've spoiled a lot already with Miguel here, but
yes, tell me more.
Yeah. His movies do run a little long, but I think this is a tight movie that does that.
Taxi Driver, yeah, that's like a tight 2 hours, right?
Yeah.
And what I can do really with 2 hours.
It's got an extensive journey. It's beautifully shot. There's this. This is a good movie. Okay.
I think if I had seen it earlier and seen it more times, I think it would probably be higher on my list. But like, it already moved way up on my list seeing it the second time.
Yeah.
It just didn't agree with me the first time I saw it, and like I said, because you got like 4 decades of people telling you, "Oh, it's a masterpiece,"
so
it's
good,
fucking great. Yeah,
you start seeing all the small triggers that kind of push him forward, and then the decision makings that he makes later on. It's like, oh, fuck! If this person didn't interact with this way, then he would kind of be on a different trajectory.
And like, to no fault of anybody, more so than Travis Bickle himself, it's like. It's all reactionary. Like his behavior causes people to, shy away and vice versa. It's like, but yeah, it's intense. And that, like, even though I'd seen it, the finale had me gasping the second time around. You know what I mean? I'm just like, oh shit! Like it's fucking, it's wild. Yeah.
They wanted to remove a lot of the violence in that scenes too, and so he had to like. Quasi fix it up and
he turned down the colors, right?
Yeah. And then also he loved Citizen Kane, so he got the composer for Citizen Kane to make the music for Taxi Driver. And then after Taxi Driver's release, poor fellow passed away. So he was able to kind of utilize them. But yeah. Okay, cool.
You would get it. You wouldn't get it. All right, cool. Taxi Driver, number 2. I like it. Number 2, Miguel. This time we're vibing, baby. It's The Departed.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Selling markers down by the harbor.
I'm the guy who does his job. Who the fuck are you?
Who are you? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, Ed, baby, let's go.
Instantly so quotable. So much fun. Great cast, easily rewatchable. I like that. The year 2006 was the year of The Departed, where we watched it, and the fact that is the only time that Martin Scorsese has won Best Director is still insane.
That's pretty crazy.
And you can make an argument for 10 of his movies,
any of the movies, right?
Where he would have earned it. Like where if like he had won, and maybe it wasn't your favorite movie, but you were still like, yeah.
I feel like that kick-started that whole like, well, he hasn't won an Oscar yet, and he needs to get an Oscar now. With like him, like, and then Leo, and then yeah.
But people feel like, I think because of that methodology or whatever you want to call it, that I feel like The Departed is kind of shunned because of it. You know what I mean? It was like, it was a career win. Kind of thing, but no, it's such a great movie.
That's crazy.
I feel like it takes away from how good that movie is, and it's so good. It's so entertaining and so intense. Like that. I already mentioned it. That Martin Sheen death is just like burnt in my brain. It's so incredible. It just takes your breath away every time. And I remember I had that phone that Leo has, that flip phone, I had that phone for a while, so that was cool, you know. And that was like when like cell phones. You started to notice cell phones were being used in movies a lot more. Like that was like a key plot point. It's like, oh, you got
texting into the pants.
And, like, in his pants, like I was like, ooh, skills.
The way
I've done that.
The way you
before.
could put the phone behind your back and be like, hey, baby, how's it going?
I felt seen when that happened. I was like, yes, I do that too.
Skill. When you had to press like a number 3 times to get to the actual letter you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, flipping it open and pulling up the antenna to talk. You know what I mean? Make sure you get the
those
good
spring phones.
No, come
on.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, there you go. Number 2. We're on to 1, baby. This is the final stretch.
Okay.
Let's keep it tight. Miguel, number 1.
Oh, are you sleepy? Okay. So number 1, hands down. There's no secret. Okay. Goodfellas. Okay.
Fucking Goodfellas.
I'm sorry. I'm not going to apologize. Okay.
I know. It's okay.
This is one of my favorite movies. I watch it. Ed was talking about something he watches like once a year. I watch Goodfellas as many times as I can. You know what I mean? Every time it leaves HBO, it goes straight to Netflix, and I'm like, oh, thank God. Let me play this now while I still have a chance to watch it 3 times. No, Goodfellas is amazing. Performances: Joe Pesci, phenomenal. Robert De Niro, phenomenal. Oh my God, Ray Liotta, phenomenal. Okay, I know, dude. He was one of those when he passed. I was like, oh man, I feel it. Every character, every line, the entire vibe. I love. You were talking, Luis, earlier about how like the third act like shakes things up. You know what I mean? Like that's such a good arc for his character. Yeah. And the audience experience in this movie. Like you start, he goes, ever since I wanted, the whole line about wanting to be a gangster, and you're like, I want to be a gangster. You know what I mean? When you start that movie, and then by the end of it, you're like, oh fuck, that took a lot out of me, man. I fucked up. I made a lot of bad choices watching this. And you know, that's what he's going through. No, I had a great time watching it.
I like his wife too, the character who plays his wife.
Oh my God. So good.
I've got a name, sorry, Lorraine Bracco,
who was also in The Sopranos.
Yeah.
Obviously, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I love her too. She's great.
We also talk about the...
before Sharon Stone, there was Lorraine Bracco.
Exactly.
Karen.
The shot, obviously everybody talks about it, but of course we got to talk about it. The long shot where they go into the bar, and there's all of this like movement and action. I mean, this is like.
And then he kissed me.
People talk about obviously that's incredible as being like a long shot as a kind of a oneer, but that type of crowd work is apparent through all of his movies, from New York, all the way down to freaking Killers of the Flower Moon, when people are moving in the background, to this movie. It's just like Wolf of Wall Street, like all these the crowd work, just the way he's able to utilize movement incredibly. I just love it. I fucking love it.
Let's go. No. Number 1 for me. I don't want to overtalk it because I know it's late. I love Goodfellas. Let's watch it, babies.
You're a good fella. Luis, number 1. This has been exciting. Your top 10 has been exciting. I love it.
Okay. So, this one is going to be a wild card. This movie, New York, baby, Liza Minnelli. No. Okay. This one is a personal choice. This one is for me and not for anybody else. So get the fuck off and get on train. This one is going to be the king of comedy.
Wow.
Yes. I think that this movie sticks the landing really well. It's ahead of its time, and I think it just fell in the wrong place of its time. I don't want to say too much because Miguel hasn't seen it, and I really want you to see it. So I can't tell you what happens at the end, but it makes sense. It speaks about the character. It speaks about society in general and what we do for what he does in this movie. Again, I'm not going to spoil it, but this character, out of all the characters, this character has no empathy, and he hides everything through charisma. And I think it's one of Robert Downey Jr.'s. Robert Downey Jr. I think it's Robert De Niro's. I think it's one of Robert De Niro's best performances, just because you don't expect it, and
you don't see him.
Yes,
You know,
you don't see
it's
him.
not De Niro. It's not De Niro being De Niro in
Jerry
any
Lewis
other
is
Scorsese
Jerry
film.
Lewis. Jerry Lewis plays it so great and straight and grounded. And I think Rupert Pupkin, Robert De Niro's character, he's so kind, but he has no empathy with anybody. Everybody else you have, they have a little bit of doubt. They're like, oh well, maybe not. Maybe this guy doesn't. And I feel like he can snap at any moment. He's delusional, super delusional, and he's only caring about himself. And he wants to have like he just has so much spite towards every other people. But it's a very entertaining movie, and so it's kind of like puts you in a position where you're like, well, he is really funny, and I'm having a good time, but he's kind of a dick, and he only cares about himself. So I have this weird like experience where like I can't connect with Raging Bull because he's such a violent asshole. But then Rupert Pupkin is also not a good person, and he is just super selfish and only cares about himself. But he hides it in that guise of humor and comedy. And again, I think when the ending happened, I was like, wow, yeah, that would happen. And kind of speaks to today's society. King Comedy. I'll put it on right now after this podcast.
Actually, I gotta go. I'm watching Kings of Comedy right now.
King.
No, Kings with Bernie Mac. No.
Oh, okay. I really like this one too. I actually really liked this one more than Taxi Driver until I revisited Taxi Driver.
Yeah.
And it's right there. I've got it at number 12 right behind Age of Innocence. But it's like you said, I think it was before its time. It's underrated. Like most people overlook it. I think it's definitely a movie that when it does end, I was just like, I want more of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
I could have kept going with it. But yeah, Rupert Pupkin is a wild character, and like it really is like one of De Niro's best performances. Like
you said, he hides. You can't even tell. Like it's kind of
you can't tell. Like, you just it's so out of character for him.
Yeah,
you know it is and another one where the costumes are just like on point for the characters that they're portraying. I love it. Yeah,
he's just so fucking relentless, and he's just I feel like he could fucking kill you at any moment, but not. I don't know. It's good. King of Comedy. Miguel, I told you to watch it because I wanted to talk to you about it, but it's okay. I'll get you next time.
Oh no. Oh, okay. All right. My bad.
All right, Miguel. Raging Bull and King of Comedy, and then you're done. That's all you got to watch.
What's funny is he actually, I think he did King of Comedy after Raging Bull. Isn't that right? Or no? Is that wrong?
Yeah, it was. It was like off of that win, and people were just like, what is this?
Yeah. I guess I understand people were expecting something, and then they got this like weird, wacky comedy. They're like, I expected more.
That's why like Scorsese's always had this like rough relationship with studios, because they want that next big like gangster hit. Like they've really tried to pigeonhole directors into their genres, but
that's the thing. It's like, listen, I know he's really good at those gangster movies, and I'm gonna shout it out. But in this list, like, I want to let something else shine that maybe people would have thought of, something that I like.
Absolutely,
it's like, of course, people are gonna love Taxi Driver, Goodfellas, Departed. What else? But Raging Bull. Like everybody knows that. But let me shout out this movie that I.
Well, he didn't want to do Raging Bull either, but he was like coming off of a cocaine addiction, and Robert De Niro talked him into it.
Can you imagine Martin Scorsese just ripping a rail, okay, right in front of you?
I think he was like, ripping a lot of them.
Who let this little man in here?
No, apparently he was really sickly at King Comedy. He had to go to the hospital. So he was doing like Raging Bull and New York, and then Taxi Driver. And by this time, he just went back to back, doing cocaine, didn't sleep. And then he had to go to the hospital. After the hospital, he came back, and they could only do like 3 or 4 hour days because his health wouldn't let him do more than that.
No way.
Like that. Yeah.
I feel bad.
Yeah.
No, it's okay. He's doing great. He's alive.
He's good. He's good now. He's good now.
Look at him now. Yeah, he's still like he's literally dealing with like a Oscar frontrunner this year. You know, he's okay. He's doing all right.
Ed, you're number one.
That just leaves me. Luis, would you care to guess what my number one movie is?
And ladies and gentlemen, Ed's number one is Goodfellas.
Psych, it was Cape Fear all along. No, yes, it is Goodfellas. Miguel, those fireworks are so sad.
They were. Yeah, I know those.
I mean, what more can I say about it? But yeah, it's one of those just like flawless movies. Like, fucking
Ed.
Own it. It is like, yes, Martin Scorsese reestablished the gangster genre as his own thing, and has anybody been able to live up to that? Fuck no.
No.
That's why he's still doing what he's doing. But yeah,
Ed, I got the thing you can talk about that we haven't talked about. Let's talk about that Italian food. All right.
Yeah.
The spaghetti. Okay. The fresh mutts.
The veal. Right? The veal.
They're in jail making this delicious ass food.
Oh, the garlic. Slices is so thin that it would melt when it hits
in the pan. Come on.
My God.
Oh, come on.
Paulie, the sausages, man. It's like, oh, we got bread, we got wine, now we can eat. Like,
yo,
yes,
also,
Paulie.
Paulie didn't move for nobody. You know what I mean? And he just like saunters into these foods. The moment I heard that line, I said, "He's my animal, my spirit animal." You know what I mean?
You made me look like a jerk. You know? Man,
he slapped. Oh, talk about improv. He slaps Ray Liotta in that scene, and that was unscripted. And Ray Liotta's like, "The fuck? You just slapped me?"
You got Spider also in Sopranos. You know, like this was
Spider
like the.
Oh, never mind.
He was
he got his foot shot.
The young kid who got his foot shot, and then he was like, well, "Why don't you go fuck yourself, Tommy?" And then Tommy fucks him with a gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like when the paranoia starts sinking in, it's a whole other beast of a movie. But
man. And that's what I'm talking about.
The first half, you're intoxicated with the ride, and it's just so good. The clown scene, like with Joe Pesci, like iconic, and rightly so. It is so perfect. Like everybody is at the top of their game. It's great soundtrack. Like
great soundtrack.
Rags to Riches. Yeah,
dude,
like
I've been listening to that for repeat this past week. I went to Goodfellas, Spotify.
Let's go.
Boom, just Rags. Dun 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 dun. Just been listening to that whole.
I know I go from rags. Yeah, no, I love it. It's so good. It's so good. Yeah, I mean, Luis, genuinely, I'm so glad that you included movies like Age of Innocence, King of Comedy. Like, I loved Age of Innocence, and I really wanted to get it higher. Like, and anybody listening, if you haven't seen Age of Innocence, you should. It's really good. And put those phones away. But like, god damn, it's such a sexy movie. Like, it's just.
Hey, it took me a bit. It could challenge you. You could be like,
it can. Like, Michelle Pfeiffer is great in it. Like, like Daniel Day-Lewis in a very like, I don't know, just low-key performance for him, you know, of all people. But it's just, you can see him bursting. It's so good.
And check out, if you want something wacky and insane and just what the fuck, watch After Hours. You know, that's not.
Yeah, I do.
Which is a shorty. It's a shorty too.
Yeah, that one's on my list. Kundun, obviously.
Kundun.
And I do want to see. I'm down to 4 movies now, so I can watch it. But
I wanted to say the movies that did movies. I want to say the movies that didn't make it on my list. I know you guys talk about The Departed. The Departed was gonna be in there. So Departed, Aviator, Irishman, Gangs of New York. Those are movies that I would like to also honorably mention on my list.
Yeah. Age of Innocence for me, King of Comedy, The Last Temptation of Christ. Like I said, I love A Crisis of Faith, and when you have Jesus Christ on the cross questioning whether he wants to be the Messiah or not, like, love it. And the fact, you know, you grow up hearing about, you know, that was such a controversial movie. It's like, no, it just supposes that if Christ had gone another way, like, and chosen
the
mortal
setup.
life.
I like the setup.
It's great. Yeah. It's like most of that movie is just telling the story of Jesus Christ until like the end, and then it just reverts back. Like, Christians get so pissy about shit, you know. But it was.
I know.
I love it. But like Willem Dafoe's great in that one.
I love how his hair grows at like it's like really short at the beginning, and then as he grows, he gets that Jesus look, you know?
Yeah. David Bowie as Pontius Pilate was inspired. Like, great.
Harvey Keitel as Judas did
also
surprise
inspired.
me. I was surprised. Whoa! But yeah,
it's not even like whitewashing. It's just like New York washing. Like everybody,
Italian.
Everyone's New York.
Yeah.
Hey, Jesus, you can't be doing that. You know?
What the fuck are you doing? Yeah.
We need some gabagool here, Jesus. Come on, you're not at my table.
No.
Oh, where's the wine? Where's the wine? No, I love that one. And the last one I watched today was Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore. Man, the kid fucking annoyed me in that movie. But
yeah.
Miguel, any shout outs for you? Oh wait.
Oh, actually, no.
No, but
you guys were sending all these YouTube links this week, and I was like, I could get around to those probably. Like that's a little.
Bro, you're not going to be able to get around my YouTube links. It's a 4-hour YouTube video. Yeah,
that's
but really good.
Series,
it's really. I don't know, Ed. I don't know if you've seen it. I'm sure you know already.
I haven't had the time. Honestly, I was like, do I watch the movie or do I watch the documentary about the movie?
It's totally fair. Totally fair. Yeah.
But I fully intend on doing so. Yeah. I mean, there's so much to unpack with his entire career. So, but that's why we did it, and we did it, guys.
Dude,
we're
gonna have to redo it again. So slowly, we'll tell Miguel to watch one movie and one movie, and then in 4 years,
what we're gonna have to do, Luis, is we're gonna just for the next 4 or 5 years, we're gonna have to consecutively win the box office wager, just so we can make Miguel watch the next one. Scorsese.
I'm just saying, I've got a gift, so good luck, you know?
Oh, yeah.
It'll be my Christmas gift. When you ask me, what do I want for Christmas? I'll say a movie, then Ed will say, his movie.
I'll be like, no, these are tangible things. No! You guys, what a fun one. Thanks for having me.
Join us again, Miguel, please, as a guest. That was great. No, yeah, we did it. So next week, I know what I'll be doing. I'm going to see David Fincher's The Killer in theaters. What about you guys? Miguel's going to be playing Spider-Man. Luis might be doing any one of those things.
I might be doing both. Who knows?
I will say this. I've said it before. I love this AMC subby. Okay. Like I can just pick a movie, go see it. Okay.
This is the time of year where I really wish I had it. You know what I mean?
And I've been holding on to it for this. Okay, so
yeah,
it's gonna be a good year for the pod.
Are you gonna watch The Killer?
Broke.
No. Sorry, more so just saying that I could go see any shitty movie in theaters that I want to go see.
Oh,
and I was thinking about that because he said The Killer. No,
Okay.
no. How excited I am to go see movies right now.
It's a good time of year. Anyway, go to theaters to see Killers of the Flower Moon. Go to your local Blockbuster to get any Martin Scorsese picture that you haven't seen yet, or Plex. I hear it's a good one. But that's it for this week. Join us next week. For now, it's been me, Ed Bull, and our usual host, Luis Gonzalez. And, of course, our semi-dedicated co-host, Miguel Sanchez.
That's me. Hey,
I love you guys. This is the kind of shit I live for, so I'm glad we got to do this. So until next time, don't you dare call me cousin, call me brother.